Hello again, everyone. This is Howard Cosell, speaking of sports.
You are listening to the Cheap Seats.
Who are these guys?
On Twitter at TCS Willis MSP Detterman, Spreaker and iHeartRadio.
They're here. Here is Steve and Steve.
Oh my God. They found me. I don't know how, but they found me.
Ah, boy, here we go.
And take 3, and this time it actually worked.
Oh my God, we're on the air.
Yes, we are. We are on the air.
We're here.
Like it or not. You can't hold us down, technology.
That's right, doggone it. We're on the air.
We are here.
We worked our way through it.
The Cheap Seats on XERS Radio. I'm your host, Steve Willis.
And it's not just the seats that are cheap, let me tell you.
Yeah, alongside me.
It's the suits that we're wearing. That's right.
I use very own Steve Detterman. Please send all hate mail to Steve Detterman.
That is right.
Cheap Seats, XERSradio.com.
Steve, please. Please, plug in elsewhere.
Yes. Yes. The technological mastermind over here, Steve Detterman.
That is me, plugging in the correct spot.
Sabotaging the show for future generations.
I asked you whether that was okay or not.
I thought it was okay. Apparently, that's what I get for thinking. That headaches.
Well, you know, I should blame myself because I asked you. That was the problem there.
So we're going to go into this. Before we start the show with the thing that we should be starting the show with, which is talking about the ALCS and the NLCS.
Yes.
So we start the show. I've got this whole thing laid out, this beautiful thing where I find all these clips of the last out of the ALCS and the NLCS.
And it was great, let me tell you. I loved it.
It was phenomenal. And who knows, you might have even been able to hear it. Probably not. But
if you did, it was great. Let me know.
But we got Wise Guy over here who chooses not to charge his phone in the middle of the day. Decides, oh, hey, I'm going to charge my phone during the show. That's great. So he plugs it into the power strip underneath his feet.
Yeah.
The only problem is the compressor that runs our microphones and runs the input for every audio that we have, all of the sound bites and everything. He plugs it into that one, and it shut the compressor off. And we, of course, didn't know until we went on the air.
Well, now, come on. To be fair,
so, ladies and gentlemen,
to be fair, before I plugged in, did I not say? And I've been plugging in there for how long?
I don't know.
Months,
a long time.
Months, years, probably.
Things change.
And the thing is before I plugged in, I said, "Is everything okay?" And what did you say?
I said, "Yeah, it looks fine."
There you go. Looks fine. Everything's great.
But of course, I'm not on the engineer's side.
Who? Oh, wait. Who's running the board?
Me.
Okay. So who's the damn engineer?
Me.
Okay. Who should I ask?
But
if
then I'm also
working?
the producer and the soundbite guy.
That's right. I'm just the talent.
we had to skimp on something.
I guess that's why the ratings are where they're at.
That's right. So for the 3.5 of you somewhere in Duluth, Minnesota that stuck around with us, we greatly appreciate it. That's appreciate, and we'll still give you the full 2 hours because we're like that.
That's right. We'll go overtime.
So stick around. I'm
going to get another piece of pizza, though.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So check this out. Look, the ALCS and the NLCS are decided.
Yes.
And the Chicago Cubs.
Who?
The Chicago Cubs.
Whoa.
The Chicago Cubs.
A team that's never won at home in a playoff series? That team?
Yes,
sir. This year?
That's right.
Oh, I tell you, I was so damn excited. It was unbelievable.
And not to mention, they didn't only win the very first ever playoff series in Chicago. They closed it out in Chicago. They also, hey, look at this. Josh Briggs shows up in studio.
Yeah, late.
Late. Better late than never. That's okay because we all started late too. But it's okay because he brought these gigantic beers that I'm going to need a tap to open. So that's huge.
My God. Well, thank you, sir. It is the big one.
Yes.
The big one. Hey, you know what? Fashionably late because we have.
Well, no. You're right on time.
No, actually, we started the show 20 minutes late.
We're right on time.
Thanks to my partner in crime over here.
Uh-oh. But hey, you know what?
Don't.
We have a great Final Four in baseball to cheers to. So,
yes, we do.
We got to make a toast.
So here we are.
Yes.
In Chicago.
Yes.
The Cubs win their very first ever playoff series in Chicago. They close it out in Chicago. Not only that, but the first time ever they meet the St. Louis Cardinals in the playoffs.
That is right.
And they are now 1-0 against the Cardinals in the playoffs.
That was, and for any Cub fan out there, it cannot get sweeter than beating the Cardinals in the playoffs. As snarky as Cardinal fans are, as arrogant and just total buttholes that they are. I'd say something. I mean, they are just god awful.
And somewhere out there, the Cubs, somebody's got to be ready to make a movie about this year's team because Steve and I actually
we just lost a ton of our listeners.
We actually discussed yesterday too, like not just the Back to the Future symbolism with 2015, but for those of you who remember the movie Rookie of the Year,
that's
with
right.
Good old Henry Rowengartner. Who did the Cubs play in the NLCS? The Mets.
That's right.
So what's happening? They're playing the Mets. So
that is correct.
Where's Henry Rowengartner when we need him? We
don't need him. We got Arrieta.
Yes, he's the Henry Rowengartner of now.
What do you think of Lester going?
You know what? I think that is a smart move.
It's a very good move.
I really like it
because the thing is that where right now Arrieta is your ace. Lester is your ace of the playoffs. This is a guy that has the playoff experience. He has World Series experience. He's pitched in those big games.
Absolutely.
Let him take the bump first.
I really like that idea.
Yeah, I mean, take the pressure off Arrieta.
And if you think about it, Arrieta's already got a little bit of playoff experience now because, that Pittsburgh game was a one-game playoff.
Yes, it was.
And by the way, Arrieta pitching a total gem in that game.
Yes, he did.
And the Cubs. This Cubs team has been setting records the entire playoffs so far. Six home runs in one game. New Major League Baseball record.
Who told me they were a small ball team? I think that was Mr. Willis. Didn't
they can be a small ball.
I don't know.
How many stolen bases has this Cubs team had this year?
Yes,
they can be a small ball team.
But still.
I didn't say they were exclusively a small ball team.
Come on, this is a home run hitting bashing
runs scored by the Chicago Cubs, 15 of them by way of home run. That is incredible.
And Vegas too is smiling on this too because you know what? We're in uncharted territory, friends. 9-4 favorites to win it all. Nobody has ever seen the Cubs at number one. And also, too, another factoid free out there. If you're trying to size up this game,
free now.
We're 7-0 against the Mets.
Because I think I'm allergic to factoids.
I think I dropped one.
7-0 against the Mets this season. That has to have all Cubs fans resting comfortably. But don't count your chickens before they hatch because you just never know.
That actually kind of makes me nervous because if they're 0-7 against you, that means they're due.
I'm going to be the jinx.
You did not have to bring that up.
No. One thing is for sure though, out of the two pitching staffs, the Dodgers scared me a hell of a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, who wants to run into Greinke and Kershaw?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't want to run into either one of those guys.
That's a two-loss buzzsaw from any direction.
But I tell you, when you start going up against Harvey, you start going up against DeGrom, you start going up against Snyder. I mean, you start naming those pitchers. And there's some damn good pitchers.
By the way, their hitters have been hitting pretty hot lately. I mean, they haven't even really relied on the hitting that they're getting right now in the playoffs all year, and now all of a sudden they start hitting hot, and that scares you a little bit too. I mean, all of a sudden Granderson's starting to get hot.
But I sat there and I looked at this and I started going position by position. And the one thing, if you take a look at the pitching, yes, the Mets have a young pitching staff, but they do not have playoff experience. Now they do.
No, they don't.
Definitely not.
And you have some people on the the Cubs that do. You've got Lester, you've got Mott in the bullpen that they're looking at pulling in. You've got a couple of those guys that have had some experience in the playoffs. I mean,
right.
And your coach Madden, he has that experience.
Oh, certainly.
But if you go position by position and you start taking a look at it, I mean, which lineup would you rather have? I damn well rather have the Cubs lineup.
I mean, Cespedes would probably be the only one.
But I mean,
that would be about it.
I gotta ask you, is it Cespedes or Cespedes?
It's Cespedes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but
it's the Cespedes for the rest of us.
No, actually, we're going to go Cespedes because we don't know. But Cespedes, I mean, you take his numbers and put them up against Rizzo's or Bryant's. And
there's nowhere even close.
They're identical.
Yeah, they're pretty even. They're pretty even.
Yeah, I mean, hits wise, home runs wise, RBIs wise, they're all right there. Cespedes had, I think, 105 RBIs. Rizzo was over 100. They each, right. I think he had 30 some home runs. So did Rizzo. So did Bryant. Hits wise, he had a couple more hits than they did, probably about 20 more hits. But I mean, if you start taking a look at it, I mean, basically it's a wash. Third base, would you rather have Bryant or would you rather have Wright? Wright's been injured most of the year. He's starting to hit.
Go with Bryant for sure.
But and the thing is I think with the Cubs lineup, they have the flexibility where you can put Bryant and Schwarber in the outfield,
swap them out,
and you still have people that can take those corner spots and fill the infield in. I mean, the Cubs right now, they're going to be missing Addison Russell for the series. But you got Baez to fill in.
Baez, I mean, he's not a real far drop down at all.
No, not at all.
No, I mean he looks a whole lot better than anybody thought. And just in case you did not hear it and you were under a rock somewhere, this was the scene the other night in Chicago. If I can pull it up.
There it is.
Yay.
He got him! A strikeout! The Cubs win! The Chicago Cubs are heading to the National League Championship Series.
And of course, that was courtesy of TBS Networks, and the Cubs in that game. It was a 6-4 win. Obviously, the Cubs came back from a 2-run deficit early in that game, and man, the Cardinals just would not go away. And it looked like, I don't know about you guys, but for me, when I watched this game, I was like, oh my God, here we are again. The Cardinals are going to ruin things for the Cubs here in Game 4. They're going to force a Game 5, and then in Game 5, they're going to close this out. And that's exactly what it felt like. But then all of the sudden, here comes the big bats for the Cubs. And not just the big bats, but you have a setup man and a closer that not just shut the door, but slammed the door and locked the deadbolt. I mean, this is easily the best closer and setup man combination that I've seen in a long time.
I mean,
especially in
Chicago. He doesn't even match up to that.
No. Well, and the thing is have they actually found Schwarber's ball? I mean,
they did. They did.
Well,
they
but it's still flying, I think. I still think it's going.
Well, you know what? I did hear unconfirmed reports that was circulating around Jupiter. So
that was a hell of a shot.
Yeah, that's a new moon. It's called Schwarber.
It's funny. It's funny. They actually did say they found it up on top of the scoreboard, and they're not going to take it down.
Yeah, they actually.
It's like a good luck
actually
charm.
put a case around it now.
I know, that's awesome.
I think it's great. I think they should just leave it there for posterity.
Isn't it so neat? I mean, we're talking about grown men here.
When was the last time you were excited about the Cubs?
A superstitious thing like this is so awesome.
It's just bleeding with symbolism, I mean, I don't know if you guys even watched the other night the Rangers and Blue Jays game. It was kind of disputable. But you know what? Watching Bautista's home run, oh my God, all I could think of was Joe Carter.
Okay, let me ask you this, and we'll go around the table here. Steve, bat flip, did you like it, hate it? Do you think it was showboating? Do you think it was celebrating? What did you think?
I thought that was perfect for that situation. I did not think it was showboating at all. I mean, the emotion that he had with that of coming through at that time, perfect.
Josh?
Well, you know what? We discussed this too the other day. I am okay with the bat flip because, like I said before, it kind of reminded me of watching Joe Carter's game-winning home run back in '93 all over again because that was no doubt. He just whoosh. But, the bat flip was okay, but however, the fans... That's what got out of hand.
I'll agree with the fans too. Yes.
The bat flip, I had no problem with the bat flip too.
None.
I had no problem with this. And people are making such a big deal out of this. And you should not showboat and stand there and watch your home run and blah blah blah. Well, I'll tell you this: David May Jr., good friend of the show, he's also lead scout for the Toronto Blue Jays, posted up a picture. And if you don't follow him on Facebook, you should. You really should.
Yes, very insightful.
Yeah, and he posted up it was actually like a montage of some of the, like during the course of the year, some of the bat flips and stuff like that nobody disputed. But because this game already had a lot of bad blood going on in it, all of a sudden this Bautista bat flip is dude, this really was not that big a deal. People were making more of it.
Well, I think more of the fans are making it. I mean, I don't think that the Rangers understood it. The Rangers didn't say anything because it's emotion. Here you are. If you are in the 8th inning,
22 years,
if you're in the bottom of the 7th, you just went down, and all of a sudden you hit a 3-run shot to put your team ahead at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
The emotion that just had to be going through. Now, we talked a little bit about the fans. What the fans did was despicable.
Yes, it was.
Your team just went out front. Why would you ever want to disrupt that?
Right.
By taking away any type of momentum there by throwing crap on the field. Well, why would you want to do that in the first place?
And much kudos to Edwin Encarnacion for trying to put a stop to it. I mean, he went up to the backstop and trying to keep calm and order. But, I understand what the fans, they haven't seen a moment like this since 1993.
Yeah.
They're
but you know what?
Keep it in check.
Celebrate, cheer, yell, scream. But why the hell do you want to throw
Don't be throwing TP or beer.
I think the thing that got everybody fired up obviously was the play. The ball hitting the bat, the live
play. Have you ever seen that before?
I've never actually seen it before. I ended up having to look up the rule myself.
Yep.
Yeah. And the thing that got everybody fired up is because at first
the home plate official
didn't score the run. Obviously,
he waved it off.
Yeah, in this particular case, if you didn't follow the game during the course of the game. The catcher for the Blue Jays, name escapes me right now. He throws the ball back.
Russell Martin.
Yeah, Russell Martin throws the ball back to the pitcher after a pitch. The ball accidentally careens off of the bat of Sin-Soo Choo, who was in the batter's box and just stretching out his arm to kind of pull his sleeve back up after that particular pitch, and the ball had careened off of his bat and went down to the third baseline fair. And that actually in baseball is a live ball at that point.
Well, it's like if you throw it back to the pitcher misses it.
Right. The runner on third advanced to home plate. Now, the umpire originally waved off the whole play, citing that it was a dead ball, and then everybody got together. It took 18 minutes. It was an 18-minute delay, and they finally got the call right. They allowed the runner from third, and as soon as that happened, the fans went nuts. The entire place erupted, and there was stuff littering on the field, and it just I've got to be honest. I love our sister country to the north. I love Canada. Yep. But, man, you guys as fans, I have never, between Toronto and Vancouver, I've never seen.
Yeah,
the Canucks. My God.
But you know what?
As soon as things go south, they're worse than Philadelphia fans.
I have, you know what, though? That's the first time that I've seen Toronto fans act like that. Toronto's usually mellow because they're used to. I'm sorry, but they're used to losing.
Yeah, but you know what though? Think back to 92, 93 when they.
I'm sorry, David May.
I was going to say he's going to have something to say to you.
Well,
later.
no, since 1993, what have they done?
Yeah,
they've been mediocre at best.
Right. And they've tried different things, but they've lost. And when you get in that mindset of losing, and that's where the fans are, I mean, I look at the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Toronto Maple Leafs have just
the Bullard curse.
Yes, they've tanked in the NHL, and that's what Canada bases everything on is hockey. But, I mean, you've got your baseball team that, won the 2 World Series, and you really didn't do a lot to follow that up for so long. And then this year they went after it, and I was impressed with what they did, especially going after Tulowitzki at the midpoint and a couple other people.
Too.
Yeah. I mean, they deserve a winner, and the fans have got to realize that they've got to act like winners too. And
that was purely classless.
The thing is when you go to the other stadiums, when you went to Chicago won. They didn't throw crap on the field.
No. They just
they sat there and jumped to where you could hear you.
Wait. You're at Wrigley in Chicago. You're not going to waste a perfectly good old style.
Oh, hell no, because,
that's what I tried to look for. I tried to get old styles.
Yep. You can't find old styles
anymore.
No,
actually you can. Liquor store by my house has them.
There you go.
Just saying.
Right next to the Paps.
Yeah,
the
probably.
PBR.
Yeah, that and hams.
There you go. Get the good beers out. Olympia, they got that there too.
Oh my God, yeah, right next to the
But I tell you what, I really, honestly, I hope that we can have a Cubs Blue Jays World Series matchup because
that would be awesome.
Who are the 2 hottest teams coming out of the gate at the trade deadline? The Cubs and the Blue Jays.
Yeah. Well, and that's what you and I had talked about a while back. Is that would be a perfect
just to see who wants it more. I mean, it's going to come down to a battle of wills here. Because
if we take a look at this and we go through and take a look at prior to this starting, tomorrow you got Kansas City and Toronto. They're going to tip it off. What do you think of that series? I mean, Kansas City, Houston had them dead to rights.
They're no slouch.
Kansas City scored, 7 runs in the 8th and 9th innings to beat them to stave off elimination and then force that Game 5?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a team to be trifled with.
Well, here's what I think. Toronto, Kansas City. Kansas City, they're going to give it all they got. However, I think Toronto's just going to eke out that extra little bit. They'll take it in 7. And I think the Cubs are just going to keep benefiting. I'm going to be generous. I'm giving the Cubs in 5. I really think they can take it in 5.
Wow, you're already calling the World Series.
Wow.
Yes, because, why stop this momentum swing now? Just put the Bartman stuff out of your head. The fans, coaching staff, anybody, they just got to put it out of their head. And
I just got to say, I think you're jumping the gun just a little bit.
But it's just
I want to see them get past the Mets first.
I think they
can. Before we start.
I really think they can. And if not, then all hate mail will be directed to me. Seriously, but
shut up, Josh.
Shut up, Josh.
I'm very confident in them, and it's something I've never been able to say.
Well, just real quick, we were on the Batista thing. I just listen to this crowd. The score right now, just to kind of set this up. Bottom of the 7th, 3-3. This is Game 5. It's been nasty. It's been traumatic in Toronto. And here is Batista at the plate, 2 runs on, runners on the corners, 1-1 pitch. Well, I'll let him take it from there.
Maybe. Here we go.
That is just, you want to talk about...
No doubt about it.
No doubt about it. The entire crowd went, that whole place went nuts.
There were a couple shots that when they hit it, you knew. When, I tell you, I watched that Shin-Soo Choo hit his home run.
Yeah.
As soon as he hit it, you just go, oh, that's gone.
Yeah, there were a couple of shots. Yeah, there were shots like that. There were shots like that in the Cubs game.
Schwarber.
Baez. I love Baez, man.
What was that?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah, Schwarber's. Yeah, Schwarber's was going. You see it still
waiting
going,
for it to come down.
You're like, hey, nobody switched off the gravity. Right?
Yeah, it's like, wow,
it's still going.
That thing is moving. But the thing that surprised me so far is that normally when you get to the postseason, it's the pitching that shines.
Yeah.
And now this so far in this early playoff season. It hasn't been the pitching; it's been the hitting that
the offense has been everything.
Yeah, absolutely. We've actually kind of gotten lucky because just about every venue has had either decent weather or it's been indoor or something like that.
But that's
you have the ability to see a lot of home runs. And what's amazing is all the great pitching that was going into these playoffs, into these league championship series, and here we are talking about home runs. Talking about 15 home runs in a series for the Cubs. You're talking about if you count the Cubs and the Cardinals,
six in one game.
I mean, that's
pretty crazy. It's unheard of.
Right. Yeah, that's a brand new record. And then you add the Cardinals home runs on top of it. Just in that one series, it was like 24 home runs or something like that. That's just absolutely ridiculous. Anyhow, we do have to get to a commercial real quick. When we come back, going to go over the NLCS and the ALCS, and we're going to talk about predictions. And then Deflategate Part 2 is coming when we get to our NFL coverage.
Oh, come on.
Oh, no. I'm titling this The Revenge of Tom Brady, and I'll tell you why. As soon as we get back, you're listening to Cheap Seats on XCRS Radio.
Baseball season's underway. Well, you better get ready for a brand new day.
Hey guys, it's the bartender for Rock Sports Bar and Grill in downtown Mishawaka, Indiana. Football season's upon us, and there's no better place to catch the game than Rock Sports Bar and Grill. Along with the best collection of memorabilia from your favorite sports greats to all the games on our big screens, Rock's has you covered. Our menu features something for everyone. Amazing sandwiches and wraps, and the best burgers around, including the Rockstar Overdose. It's 2 half-pound patties served with bacon, cheddar cheese, piled high with french fries. Make sure you got your cardiologist on speed dial for this one. Find us on Facebook to check out our daily food and drink specials that are sure to be great for your gut and easy on your wallet. We've got you covered in between game days too. Wednesday night is trivia night where you can match wits with your buddies for great prizes. And during football season, tailgate Thursdays featuring dollar dogs, tacos, and fries. And every weekend, Rocks features great acoustic music from some of Michiana's finest artists. Come see why there's no better place to get your fan fix than Rock Sports Bar and Grill, located in the Yorktown Center Building in downtown Mishawaka. For those who come to Rocks, we salute you.
Where do you go when you're looking for great food, a cold drink, and some of the best local live music? I go to the Phoenix, located on the corner of Lincoln Way and Main Street in historic downtown Mishawaka. Thursday nights, it's open jam with $2 well drinks. Friday and Saturdays, there's always live music with no cover charge. Great food, cheap drinks, excellent service. The place to be is the Phoenix.
Contact.
And we are back. The Cheap Seats on XCRS Radio, brought to you by the Phoenix Grill and Cheers Pub, as well as a 5-star dive bar and Rock Sports Bar and Grill, of course. Going out this weekend, the Phoenix has got ground control. Cheers Pub has members only. That's all happening tonight. 5-star dive bar's got Blammo. And then you can check out Clinton Fairley at Rock Sports Bar and Grill. Tomorrow night, Hooligan Heights at the Phoenix Cheers Pub has Modern Day Drifters and 5-star dive bar customer appreciation night over there. Go check that out. Make sure you check out some karaoke tonight at City Limits Lounge. Have DJ Will Travel will be out there. Our very own Bill McDonald will be out there from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. You want to sing? You think you can sing? Come on out.
I've sang there before. Man, was it fun.
You can sing?
I can sing, yes.
Oh, yeah?
Wasting away again in Margaritaville.
Okay, don't ever do that again.
Oh, God. Have another beer.
Yeah. Can you try that? Can you try that again this time?
Ticket prices for Cubs Mets.
What?
Ticket prices for Cubs Mets.
Prices.
I mean, I was thinking. I mean, with the Cubs moving this far along,
yes.
What would the average ticket price be right now for? I already looked it up, Josh.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Wild guess.
Average. If you're on the average secondary market, average secondary market.
We'll kind of do this like some kind of a Price is Right game. Yep. You tell me over or like high or low.
Okay.
Let's go $500.
Low.
$1,000.
High.
Josh?
$750.
Low.
$900.
High.
$850.
High.
$825.
Low.
$835.
Low.
$840.
Low.
All right, damn it, we're close enough.
$845.
$846.
$846.
Average secondary price for a ticket for the Cubs Mets. $846. Now, if you move that to a World Series game, can you imagine what the secondary price for a Cubs
$2,000?
I looked it up already. $2,200.
I'd say minimum for a game.
That is ridiculous. I mean, Super Bowl. The Super Bowl is average $2,000 a ticket.
Well, yeah, but I mean, this is the first time that if they get if they get to the World Series, first time that they'd be there in how many years? 108.
108 years. Bleacher Report did report $2,200 is what they're estimating currently if they make it that far. $2,200.
You know what?
To start.
I'll be honest with you. I think they're low.
Yeah.
I think they're low. I think ticket prices will actually go $2,500 to $3,000. If not more.
Oh, definitely.
Because this is something you may not see in another century. Yeah, I mean, you don't know.
Just a heads up. The new guy buys World Series tickets. So Briggsy.
All right. You know what?
We're going, baby. We're going to Chicago.
Well, he was saving on the beer, I think.
Yeah. That's why I bought the Natty Ice.
That's why I brought the cheap stuff. I'm saving up, baby.
Damn it, we're going to drink Natty Ice.
They better not let me down and get some Mets. So that's all I'm saying.
We're going to drink Natty Ice now because, by God, we're going.
We got to warm up for the old style.
We got to work our way up to the old style.
Yes, got to warm up.
Speaking of warm, that's how they're going to serve it, so it's all good.
You know, the only thing I'm worried about is that they took out the troughs in the bathroom there. How are you going to pee now?
Yeah, I know, because after about a half dozen old styles, you need a trough.
Can you imagine?
I'll be needing a stretcher.
You got 40,000 fans in there all at the trough at the same time.
Oh, jeez.
You talk about the flood in Chicago?
Oh, yeah.
Why is the Chicago River
2015?
Why is the Chicago River yellow all of a sudden? We don't understand.
I got news for you.
This is St. Patrick's Day.
I got news for you too. After a half a dozen of those old styles, I ain't gonna care who I'm standing next to.
I don't. You know.
Pardon me, officer. I need to use the facilities. I know we're on the street corner, but I don't care.
You got a shy bladder.
Size does not matter.
No, size does. You just push them out of the way. I can actually angle it down that side over there.
So, all right. So let's.
Last week it was impressive. Now it's size.
Where the hell did we go?
I don't know. Everybody, give me a hand. 1, 2, 3. We're gonna pull the show back out of the gutter.
Man.
And
it's in my pants now.
Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and break this down to ALCS. Let's talk Toronto and Kansas City. Give me what are the keys here for Kansas City, Steve?
I think the keys for Kansas City is they've got to have the pitching that will limit the power of the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, they've got to be able to eat the corners. They've got to be able to keep the ball down, and they've got to be able to keep the ball in the ballpark. I mean, this is a team that bashes homers. They led the major leagues in home runs. I mean, you talk Encarnacion, you talk Donaldson, you talk Bautista. You've got people that can smoke that ball. On the offensive side, they've got to use their legs, and they've got to be able to take the extra base. They've got to take advantage of the outfield that's a little bit slow, not as mobile as possible, and they've got to be able to get that quick run. I mean, if they can do that, they can take down Toronto. The problem is I don't see that happening. I really don't. I don't see the starting pitching of the Kansas City Royals holding the Blue Jays down to where they need to win.
That is a lot of firepower. So, Josh, what do the Blue Jays have to do here?
The Blue Jays, Steve hit it right on the head. Donaldson, Russell Martin, Encarnacion, Bautista. That is their firepower right there. They need to get their other runners on base. And then they need to find ways to get that ball out of the ballpark. And if they do that, Kansas City's going to have a really hard time keeping up on the run.
Yeah, they don't exactly have the firepower to go toe-to-toe with those big hitters.
But, I mean, Kansas City has the pitching in Johnny Cueto. That'll help. But
that's just one
That's
game.
about as good as it's going to get.
Here's the thing. Johnny Cueto, I mean, as good as he is, he was still an 11-13 pitcher during the year.
And that's about as good as it gets. But
I mean, when your ace is 11-13,
that's
not going to get it done.
No. And he's not even starting the first game. Volquez is going to start the first game.
But
which actually is going on here in about an hour and something.
Here's the thing. Who would have thought that the Kansas City Royals would start two Cincinnati Reds pitchers?
I know, right?
I mean, it's like, what the hell happened to the Reds? You had Volquez, you had Cueto. Where are you at?
Who knows? Well, they had no hitting.
Definitely, the Blue Jays will get this done. I'll keep Kansas City in this, but honestly, Toronto's gonna prevail. That's obvious.
All right, so let's jump over National League real quick because I want to move on from here and talk about something else.
We have to?
No.
It's so much fun.
We're still gonna cover the playoff baseball. Okay. I got a different question for you guys. All right, let's go. Cubs, Mets. Give me Cubs. What do the Cubs got to do?
What the Cubs have to do is the Cubs have got to score. I mean, that's they've got to be able to use the firepower, but they've got to be able to I think to basically manufacture runs. You talk about the small ball. I think they're going to have to do that. They're going to get the bomb here and there, but against the pitching of DeGrom and Harvey and Snydergaard and all these other guys, I mean, it might come at a premium. This isn't Waka, this isn't Martinez, this isn't Garcia that St. Louis marched out. These are guys that are going to throw at 95 at minimum.
Right.
And I think we're going to see a lot of strikeouts. Mm-hmm. So I think what the Cubs are going to have to do is they're going to have to manufacture some runs. On the other side, they have to make sure that they hold down those key hitters. They hold down Cespedes. They hold down Granderson, the guy at third, Wright. They hold these guys down and limit what they do. I got a feeling what you're going to see in this one. I got a feeling you're going to see some, especially on the Cubs. You're going to see some people come out. They're going to take the series and they're going to take it by storm. I think you're going to see a good series by Montero. I think you're going to see a good series by Baez.
Who is going to play the entire series, by the way, because Addison Russell is out for the series.
I think you might see some limited, production from Bryant. I think you might see limited from Schwarber and Rizzo because just of the power pitching that New York will bring at him.
One of the notes that I read coming into the show was out of the 15 home runs the Cubs had, only six of the 15 home runs had extra bases or extra runners. They were multi-run shots. Everything else was a solo shot. So they do need to get guys on base for in front of those big hitters. Josh, tell me about the Mets. What do the Mets got to do to beat the Cubs?
Well, with the Mets, Steve kind of touched on this a little bit. With their pitching, they need to have good, solid outings. With the Syndergaards out there, they might be young, but Chicago cannot be led on in deception by that. They've proven all year long their pitching is lights out all year long. So if their pitching can keep them in this game, I think they'll have a chance. But, like what you guys said with the Grandersons, the David Wrights, I don't think David Wright's going to be as much of a factor, but, guys like Granderson,
Granderson and Cespedes are the two hottest hitters.
If they keep the power down, I think that they have a chance.
I think with the pitching that the Cubs
I'm not going to discount David Wright though because he can get hot at any moment.
Yeah, but I just don't know. I think really the pitching is what the Mets have for to get into the series and win it. But I just don't see how you can match up against the Cubs' power the way that they've been going lately.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's go best and worst. Best hitting AL and NL. Best hitting coming into the championship series
of AL and
all 4 teams.
All 4 Cubs.
Cubs.
I think Cubs.
Best pitching coming into the series.
Oh man.
Right now, Cubs.
I'd have to say Cubs as well.
I mean, as far as what they did limiting the Cardinals, yes, the Cubs. They did it in 4, not 5.
Worst pitching coming into the series.
I mean, probably
Kansas City.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you.
They
on
only
that.
have like 2 decent pitchers.
You take away, and you can't. But if you could take away the seven runs they scored in the 8th and 9th inning in that game 4, they're not there.
Worst hitting coming into this series.
Mets.
Really think so?
Yeah.
Yes, I definitely think so.
Yeah.
They lack the power.
The Mets average maybe 3 runs a game.
Yeah, true.
True. Kansas City broke out. Toronto is just. That's a stud. That's a stud offensive team.
I'll tell you what. Batista aside, I want to see what Toronto does against a team that actually has some kind of defense, because the Rangers had none.
No, they didn't.
They had, zero defense. I think I tweeted out during Game 5.
I saw that. I read that to my wife and she laughed.
All the defensive prowess of a co-ed church league softball team. That was exactly what I saw.
I played church league co-ed softball. Yes. I understand exactly what you're saying.
And you cannot. When somebody puts the squeeze on to move the runner over, you throw it directly to the third baseman, and he drops the ball. Drops the ball like an 8-year-old at that position.
How do you sit there? As you talk about the Cubs fold a couple years ago,
right?
When they just blew that lead against Florida,
right?
Boy, I tell you, you wipe that all away after you watch what Texas did in that 7th inning. That was
that was
the worst 7th inning of baseball I've ever seen defensively.
They fell apart so bad.
Choke.
It almost hurt to watch.
Yeah. It was. It was painful to watch.
I was wondering if Bartman was in the stands there.
He might have been.
Really
he might have been
incognito. If the goat was walking around or something.
That's what it was.
We had a goat
Seeing some guy in a green hoodie with his shades on. And
so which team is the most suspect coming into this then? Of the 4, which team is the most suspect? The weakest team of all of them.
Oh, are you talking the weakest team or the one that...
The one that you're looking at, you're like, you don't need to be here. You're going to get ousted. If I had to hand pick somebody today, you got to put $1 million. You got to put $1 million on this team losing. Who is it?
I don't know.
Enough money to make you uncomfortable. I know, Briggsy. I know you're rolling. $1 million means nothing.
Here's the thing, and I'm gonna back this one out.
Sure.
I would say the Mets, but the team that I would say is the worst suspected as far as not living up to expectations are the Cubs.
Really?
I think that series...
The team that everybody said at the beginning of the year was a year or 2 away.
Yes. And
you're saying they're not living up to expectations?
No. I think coming into this, I think everybody believes that the Cubs are going to put the Mets away.
Oh, okay.
I do too.
I think I know where you're going.
I think the Cubs are going to put the Cubs away. I think the Cubs are going to put the Mets away. So, and the other side... I think it's going to be a dogfight. I think Toronto's going to come out and win that one eventually, but I think it's going to be a long series. But also on the other point, if I can see one team, and this is the problem when you have a young team, and the Cubs are a young team. So are the Mets.
Right.
You could have one of these teams just completely lose it because of their age, because of their lack of experience. And that's why I look at this. I look at either side. You could have, I look at the Mets being the one team that's going to lose. But if you flip the coin, it could be the Cubs. It could just be the opposite because of that age, because of Kansas City, as much as I'd like to say them, they've got the experience from last year getting the World Series.
Sure.
In Toronto is not a young team. This is a team that's been around a little bit. I'm not worried about. That's why I think that's going to be a battle.
Right.
I think the Cubs, the Mets, it's going to go one way or the other, and it's going to be quick. It's going to be 5, maybe 6 at the most, but I think 5 games. I don't think it's going to go more.
I think the difference there, when you talk about the 2 young teams, I think the difference there is Joe Madden.
I do too.
Really, because
just his knowledge of the game.
Well, and not only that, but his ability to be able to handle the young kids.
Playoff experience,
he is
too.
Very good. He is very good with young players. And he's proved that. He's proved that in Tampa Bay. He's proving it here.
2008, man. You can't forget that.
Yeah, he is a phenomenal manager when it comes to keeping these young guys in check and not letting them get too far ahead of themselves. Now, let's flip it on the opposite. The strongest team coming in. The wrecking ball. Is there one? Is there a wrecking ball that everybody's looking at going, oh God, I hope we don't have to face them?
Oh my God! If I would say, I think the wrecking ball you don't want to face is the Cubs. You really do not want to.
So you're saying they're the strongest team, yet they could possibly be.
Yes,
they
are.
And
the thing I look at that with is that it's just the age. If they can keep playing stupid, as you and I talked about like a month and a half ago, if they keep playing stupid. Right. They're in the World Series.
Like nobody else is watching.
They're in the World Series. If they start looking at the clippings, if they start looking at what they've accomplished and what they've done this year,
then they're going to crack under pressure, and we don't want to see that. I mean, like I will agree with Steve too. They are the suspect team because what if something happens? Errors breed errors. You don't want to get into that because the runs will go against you like that. However, with their pitching and their offense and great defensive abilities out in the field, I really think that they could be the strongest one too. Because what if Schwarber gets hot?
Well, I mean, you
just never know.
And the way I look at it, it's almost like you go back to the witchcraft of the bell, book, and candle. We're going to throw this at you, and we're going to put you on there and say, hey, this is it. This is your magic right now. Right. And I think the Cubs have grabbed that magic this year that they were a year away.
That's no more.
We talked about that earlier. We talked about that when the season started. They were a year away.
Yeah.
They needed another starting pitcher. They needed a corner outfield.
Right.
They found it. They found Arrieta. They found Schwarber, and they were able to move Bryant to the outfield.
Right.
They're still, I think, a pitcher away or two pitchers away from being dominant.
But this could be the start of a dynasty. Honestly,
here's one of the things that I liked seeing in that Cardinals series that told me that these guys know how to settle down. When Addison Russell got hurt and Baez had to come in, what does he do when he comes in at short? He immediately a defensive mistake. Yes. What happens? They get out of the inning.
They do.
They get out of the inning. They battle back, make one hell of a defensive play from right field, which, by the way, Soler, I mean, that dude could hit a bullseye from 500 feet away with a baseball. I'm telling you.
I mean, that arm, and that's what you.
He shot that out of a cannon. That was ridiculous, and that saved. Not only did that save that inning, I think that very well could have saved that game.
Well, I agree because if they score that run, you're now down one,
right?
And that inning is still going,
right? Exactly, and that came off of that Baez error.
Yeah.
And so, what did they do collectively as a team? They got together. They were able to overcome it.
Smash two home runs,
right? And then turn around, get 2 home runs right in the very next inning. I mean, this was the accursed Bartman play.
Yes.
This was the play, oh God, here we go.
Yep.
And they took care of it.
Yeah, it did.
They took care of business. They got out of the inning and they went on to win the game.
Is this Back to the Future too?
I think so. God. And it's Rookie of the Year too. Just remember that.
Robert Zemeckis has got to be sitting back somewhere just laughing.
He's going like this, going, damn, they're going to buy that. They're going to buy that movie again, aren't they?
I just want to know. I want to know how many people have went out and bought the movie or rented the movie Back to the Future 2 because of this series.
And then when the Mets clinched last night, I even watched Rookie of the Year on YouTube because they got the full movie, and it's just like I said before, this year's playoffs is so bleeding with symbolism, not just on the Cup side, but with the Blue Jays, because they have not been this strong since their World Series year. I mean, Bautista is just like another version of Joe Carter with his moonshots.
But is it Bautista? I mean, if I look at that team and I see Bautista and I see the one thing that really intrigues me and really goes is Donaldson.
Yeah, even Donaldson too.
Donaldson. I mean, he's been soft the last week and a half, 2 weeks, but he actually came out and belted a couple of home runs during the series. And I tell you, Kansas City is hoping his bat is not waking up, because what he did during the regular season is going to win him the MVP. It's going to win him the MVP. And if he gets that back going into this championship series, watch out. It's going to be quick. I don't think it's going to be, but it's going to be quick.
And I got to ask you guys something, too. I mean, all right, I'm going to sound like a homer here for a second, okay? If you guys are in the Cubs locker room, what would you tell them? Would you tell them, don't think about 2003, finish what you started then, and just go out and win the thing?
I just tell them one game at a time.
Yeah, I just say, don't go out.
Just game by game.
I said, just don't go out be an asshat or anything like that and cause a problem. I mean, keep yourself together and go out and play the game.
Yep,
don't make that stupid mistake.
This is what's totally gotten them this far.
Absolutely. One game at a time. When we come back, you were talking about symbolism.
Yes.
You got a lot of symbolism going on everywhere else in sports, in the NFL specifically. You're talking about the last time a team went undefeated and went 5-0. How about 1988, the Cincinnati Bengals? We're going to tell you what the 88 Bengals have to do with the 2015 Bengals right after this. You're listening to Cheap Seats on XCRS Radio.
You're listening to XCRS Radio, bringing you classic rock live from Pleasant Valley.
Hey, how's everybody doing out there? Mel Williams, XCRS Radio. Be sure to join me Monday nights, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. for the Michiana Scene. We'll be showcasing local musicians, playing their music, and listening to their stories. And they all have great stories. So come on out to Pleasant Valley every Monday night at 6 p.m. Michiana Scene on XERS Radio. See you then. Wow! Monday nights.
Where do you go when you're looking for great food, a cold drink, and some of the best local live music? I go to the Phoenix, located on the corner of Lincoln Way and Main Street in historic downtown Mishawaka. Thursday nights, it's open jam with $2 well drinks. Friday and Saturdays, there's always live music with no cover charge. Great food, cheap drinks, excellent service. The place to be is the Phoenix.
Option 5, located in Mishawaka, Indiana, specializes in hand-built boutique guitar effects pedals. Option 5 has been producing the highest quality pedals right here in northern Indiana since 2002, and they continue to create original, non-copy designs today. Option 5 is not simply tweaking popular pedals and then slapping their name on them. They're producing groundbreaking effects designed for guitarists of all styles. And Option 5 doesn't just build cool pedals. They provide top-notch repair service as well. Option 5 repairs pedals and PA equipment, can modify and retube amplifiers, and service or repair Hammond organs and Leslie speakers. If you're looking for the highest quality effects pedals and the best in repair and customer service, check out Option 5 in Mishawaka at 1126 East Jefferson. Give them a call at 574-255-6539 or online at option5effects.com. That's option, the number 5effects.com. Option 5. Let tone abound.
The Cheap Seats brought to you by XERS Radio, also brought to you by just about every... I totally jacked that up.
Damn it. Get that down, buddy.
You're not allowed to bring cheap
Damn
dinner
it, Jim.
anymore.
I know. I got to look for old style. Make some effort.
Brought to you by Scooby's Subs. Right now, go to Scooby Subs and get toasted. Stop in. Yes. And not on Natty Ice.
Oh, my God.
Stop in.
I need something to eat right now.
By toasted, I'm talking about their brand new line of toasted subs. So go in there and check that out. Stop by Scooby's Subs, downtown Mishawaka. So, does anybody else remember 1988?
I do.
What was so significant about the Cincinnati Bengals in 1988?
If I believe in 1988, I think it was, wasn't that the last time they might have made the Super Bowl?
That is correct. That is the last time they made the Super Bowl.
Isn't that what Boomer was leading them?
That is absolutely correct.
And didn't they get beat by maybe
Icky Woods, baby, the Icky Shuffle?
Yeah, wasn't that either Montana? Was that a Montana type of thing?
That's right. That was Joe Montana's first.
And wasn't that a long drive that at the end that they just
and Munoz was like a brick wall.
Now, guess what they got in common with the 2015 Cincinnati Bengals?
What's that?
They're both 5-0. They both started 5-0.
Ooh.
This was the last time the Bengals started 5-0. They went to the Super Bowl, 1988. How good is Andy Dalton and those Cincinnati Bengals right now?
Wow. I'm going to see him, actually. I purchased tickets today to go watch him at the end of November against St. Louis. I could go down and visit my son and see that. But, I mean, I think their record is a lot better than the team.
Really?
I shouldn't say a lot better than the team. I mean, I don't see this as a dominating team. I mean, it's a team that is winning right now.
Right.
I don't think they really have had a huge, well, Seattle's a challenge, but Seattle's what, 2-3 now? Or
Seattle's really nothing much on paper.
I mean, Seattle's nothing like they have been. I don't think they've really faced a really tough challenge. And of course, they're playing Seattle at home, too.
Sure.
Which makes a difference.
Sure.
Yeah, they will get to the playoffs. But
and the thing is like I said, I have not been impressed overall with what they've done. I mean, the running game. Do they have a running game?
Yeah.
What? Sure. Who? What? Come on, name me the running game.
Oh, top of my head, too.
Was it Pac-Man?
No. Starts with G.
But
wow.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. I mean, he give me that bitch face.
I can't believe you said that. I'm like, what do you mean they don't have a running game? Yeah,
they don't. I mean, you take away AJ Green from that team. And you take away Eifert. I mean, if you
you take their top two wide receivers away.
No.
They're gonna be the Chicago Bears.
Eifert's a tight end. You lock down Green. You get a tight end. You get a cornerback on him. Okay, and you get a lockdown cornerback on him.
There's no match.
You check Eifert at the line of scrimmage.
Nobody's been able to stop Eifert.
Not yet.
Nobody.
Not yet.
He's pretty hard
but
to
the
stop.
thing is Dalton is still not an elite quarterback. He is a guy that, one day he is throwing, 20 for 25, and the next day he's throwing 12 for 30. He's just not that. He's not that elite quarterback that has me going. This team is a juggernaut. I don't see him.
I am not going to call him elite. Giovanni Bernard, by the way, is their starting running back. I am not going to call him elite, but they are playing good enough. Trent Dilfer was not elite and won the Super Bowl.
God. Well, yeah, but that was because of the defense.
Russell Wilson's not elite.
That was because
was in another one.
Okay, that was because of the defense. I will not compare Cincinnati's defense to Baltimore's defense that year.
And I'm not trying
even close.
to. I'm not trying to, but at the same time, I'm just saying you don't have to be an elite quarterback if you're a good all-around team. This team is playing very well together.
They are. I mean, I love a lot of what they're doing. But, I mean, I just don't see it, holding up for a period of time and the main reason is, and I'll be honest, it's because of Dalton. I don't see him leading this team, and taking it, beyond. I mean, this is a team that's going to make the playoffs. They've made the playoffs for how many years in the past? I mean, they made last year, 2 or 3 years, 3, 4 years?
Yeah, 3, 4 years in a row.
Okay. Where have they gone in the playoffs? They've gotten, I think, the championship game, once maybe?
No, they never got to the championship game.
They got to the divisional championship once.
Okay. I didn't mean the Super Bowl. I thought they got one time to the national a couple years back.
To the AFC championship?
No, I thought they got one.
No.
But, the thing is that I don't think they have the firepower to get past the Patriots, to get past the Steelers if the Steelers get in, to get past Denver. I don't see them with the firepower and the defense that can get past that.
Okay, well, this actually brings me to my next question, debate topic for you guys, and we're going to throw this out there. And I'm going to name these teams. I'm going to tell you who they play this week. The Atlanta Falcons. Obviously, we went into this week. Let me go ahead and just dial this back. We went into this week with what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 undefeated teams. The Atlanta Falcons have already lost.
They have.
All right. What we got left? The Panthers, the Packers, the Denver Broncos, the Bengals, and the Patriots. All right. That's who we got left.
I mean, to me, it's like each of these teams.
How many more of these teams are going to walk out of Sunday not undefeated anymore?
Well, I mean, it's like each of these teams are holding the lock, and I love watching that happen. I think with this, I think the Patriots are going up against Indianapolis. Mm-hmm. I think they win. I don't see, because I don't know.
I know they're going to win. Yeah, I'll tell you a little more about that later.
I don't know how
party
alcohol abuse. There we go.
No. I don't know how effective Andrew Luck's going to be if he's going to play.
I don't think he's going to play.
The Packers against San Diego at Green Bay. No, I don't give San Diego a chance in that one. I mean, I think it's going to be a closer game, but not that much.
I don't think it's even going to be close.
No. Who else? Who's the next one?
Carolina.
Carolina, I think Carolina. Who are they playing?
Carolina has Seattle. Or no.
Yeah, Panthers. Seahawks.
Yeah. Carolina.
That's at Seattle, right?
At Seattle.
I think Carolina falls. I do not think. No, I'm serious.
Think the Seahawks have that one.
I think the Seahawks will take them at home. I am not a big Cam Newton fan. Cam Newton is having a decent year this year, but Cam Newton is so damn hot and cold, it's unbelievable. And I think this is where he goes cold.
All right, Denver Broncos.
That hot and cold though.
Denver versus who?
Cleveland.
Oh, Denver will be 6-0.
Yeah. All right, and then finally Cincinnati at Buffalo.
See, now that's going to be a tough game.
No Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor's out.
I'll go Cincinnati and that just taking Tyrod out.
Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is that Buffalo has a decent defense, but they bend no break. But I think they're going to bend too much on this one.
All right, Josh.
All right. Well,
who you got?
Let's see. With the Bengals-Bills, definitely have the Bengals winning this one. I mean, it's really no contest there. Broncos-Browns, same way. And a little news flash for you about Johnny Manziel.
News flash.
He got pulled over last night. Yeah, it was during a domestic dispute in the car with his girlfriend, and he had admitted to drinking.
Really?
No.
Trouble in paradise once again.
It's like the snow is falling all over Johnny Manziel. Just pile up on him.
I mean, the Broncos, they'll win that one in a walk, but let's see. And then the Patriots-Colts is always a good game. I think it'll be a lot closer than you think, because the Colts still have some power without Andrew Luck.
They don't have a
defense.
But the Patriots will still win, but it'll be close.
I don't think it's going to be close.
But, and then you say the Panthers will lose to the Seahawks. I think Cam Newton is having his coming out party. And I'm saying he's coming of age. I think he's going to keep the roll going, and it's going to be a 10-point win for the Panthers.
All right, so you're saying the final the five undefeated teams are all coming out undefeated. You're giving me the Panthers.
I think someone's sitting by the fireplace smoking something over
there. No. I think he had 2 or 3 of those.
I think 3 sheets to the wind. He had it before he came in.
So okay, I've got. I really think Carolina is going to struggle with this defense. The reason why I say that is Carolina has not played a defense like this all year. Every defense they've played all year has been fairly pedestrian. The Packers, they're going to maul that San Diego defense when if Eddie Lacy gets going, even not at 100%, he is going to overrun the San Diego.
But is Mike McCarthy going to ruin the Packers by his play calling and allow San Diego back in the game?
I really don't think so. I honestly think this is going to be a runaway as soon as
I'd love to see it.
I think
trust
me,
I would love to see that.
Denver, Cleveland. I mean, Denver is the best defense in the NFL. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Definitely.
They've scored a touchdown in every game but one. and which is more than you can say for Peyton Manning. And so, yeah, what am I lying?
No, you are.
It's. I mean, if your defense has scored more games than you have as a quarterback, I mean, come on.
Yeah, but here's the thing: would you ever believe? When would you ever believe that you would be saying that? That the
at
defense,
the end of Peyton Manning's career,
the defense
a year too late.
Yes, he should have left like a year ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Cincinnati, I think they're going to be able to handle Buffalo sans Tyrod Taylor. New England, they're going to maul Indianapolis. Look, Andrew Luck, no Andrew Luck. The New England Patriots have had this circled on their calendar the day the schedules came out and they knew what day they were going to be taking on the Colts. All right, and the reason why I even brought up Deflategate, because honestly I wouldn't want to discuss Deflategate in any other reason. The only reason why I brought
like
this
a bad
up,
banana you bring it up there,
The only reason why I brought it up is because this is going to be the fuel that is going to light the fire, that is going to make Bill Belichick walk into that locker room before that game, look Tom Brady and that offense in the eye, and tell them, I want you to hang 80 on that defense and show them inflated, deflated. That 40-point win we had back in December meant this.
Yes.
And they're going to go out and the Colts, they might want to go ahead and add a third reel on the scoreboard in the 100 spot because there is a possibility that could go down like that.
I agree with that. I got a question for you. What would the Packers look like if Bill Belichick was the coach there?
Oh, my God.
Can you imagine?
Oh, my God. Because that, to be quite frank, the Packers do have a slightly more talented offense than what the Patriots do right now. As far as wide receivers go, you put Jordy Nelson back in there, they're far and away even
without Jordy Nelson, I mean, you've got
they're right in there.
Yeah, I mean, you look at James. Look at what James Jones has done.
Right, both quarterbacks, all wide receivers are about even.
I mean, Jones has been like the cinnamon on top of that apple, whatever you got there. I mean, it's just he has been perfect.
As far as running backs go, right now, I think LeGarrette Blount's got the edge, but that's because Eddie Lacy is just he started off slow this year.
Well, they haven't used Eddie Lacy.
Yeah, they definitely haven't utilized him.
But I mean, if you take a look at the defenses they've gone up against they've gone up against Seattle. Good run defense. They've gone up against St. Louis. St. Louis is
no Cam Chancellor in that defense, though.
Yeah, but it's the front line that really will stop.
Yeah, Cam Chancellor is the heart of that defense.
Yes, he is. But
you take Ray Lewis out of the Baltimore Ravens classic defense.
But if you still had Siragusa up front and you still had Manalo Wada, whatever his name was, up there. I mean, that guy. They would plug it up. And you take a look at the defenses he ran against. I mean, even San Francisco. San Francisco still has a stout front five. So I mean, he's gone up against some decent defenses. But I tell you, I would still take Eddie Lacy over LeGarrette Blount any day.
You have
any day. Take a look not only at the running output, but take a look at the receiving output because Aaron Rodgers uses Lacy on those screens so effectively.
He does. He really does. I will give you that. LeGarrette Blount is okay at catching passes, but once he gets out of the flat, you're not going to throw the ball to him downfield, really.
No.
And even with Tom Brady, it's not a good idea to throw him downfield.
No, God, no.
But I think I agree with you. I think Carolina is going to have the hardest time. If they beat Seattle, it would be extraordinarily close. I think Seattle just being in Seattle is a serious edge here. Speaking of the 49ers, you had just mentioned it. Joe Montana said some not so nice things about the 49ers. Just yesterday in an interview.
And that doesn't surprise me, and I would agree with him.
And, what Montana said was he believed that the 49ers made a mistake letting go of Jim Harbaugh.
You think?
Since September 19th, Michigan, under the tutelage of Jim Harbaugh, 127-0 points scored versus allowed. The 49ers, 69. I think it was 69 allowed and only like 36 scored or 32 scored or something like that. Do you think the 49ers made a mistake?
I don't know. That's like taking.
Is that a rhetorical question?
That's like taking a sapphire over a ruby. You know what do you want? Do you want the blue stone? You want the red stone? I mean, you know, I'm gonna take the more valuable.
So.
I would take Harbaugh any single day.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's like, well, pick your poison. I think Harbaugh definitely.
Well, yeah, but the problem is remember
he is a wizard, but he's not God.
You got to remember though, they had the problem.
I don't know. I think God calls him on a football decision.
But the problem is you have to have the agreement from coach all the way up, and they had that disconnect between the coach and the front office, and then also from the coach down to the players. I think the players got tired of Jim Harbaugh.
You know what I likened this to? The Harbaugh being released, and all of a sudden the 49ers went downhill. You know what I likened this to? I likened this to the Dallas Cowboys getting rid of Jimmy Johnson.
Wow,
that's what I likened this to.
You know,
how many Super Bowls?
I don't disagree with you on that one.
How many Super Bowls would the Cowboys have won? Remember the Barry Switzer. Remember the Barry Switzer Super Bowl.
With Switzer.
The one with Switzer was with all of Jimmy Johnson's guys. All the guys that Johnson brought in there coached up the same systems that Johnson had. Barry Switzer was nothing more than a yes man puppet for Jerry Jones, and he came in there. And Jimmy's guys won one more ring for Jerry. And then all of a sudden it started to go to pot because Barry Switzer wanted to start doing his own thing.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing. I understand your comparison, but the difference is that Jimmy Johnson won championships. Harbaugh didn't. Harbaugh got him there, but didn't win it. So I mean,
this is true.
I think that was a much more drastic change than Harbaugh.
I think the only reason why Harbaugh didn't get them into multiple Super Bowls and winning multiple Super Bowls was because of just dumb luck. I think just wrong place, wrong time. The same reason why the Pistons didn't win any playoffs.
But the Pistons have to put a retainer down for all the damage that they did.
But my point is, these
are guys that beat the hell out of people.
Jim Harbaugh has no Super Bowl rings.
No, he doesn't.
The same reason why Karl Malone doesn't have any NBA championships.
Okay.
Because of who else was playing at the time. Karl Malone didn't have any because of a guy named Michael Jordan. A lot of Utah Jazz teams that didn't end up going to the NBA Finals.
I thought you were talking Detroit Pistons there for a minute.
Well, I was.
Okay.
And then I went over, then I switched over.
No. We went from the bad boys to Karl Malone all of a sudden.
I wanted to just kind of put a comparison. Two great guards. Anyhow, so now we have Jim Harbaugh, who, look what he ran into every year that he took the 49ers to the NFC Championship. He ran into a Seattle team that would not be denied.
Oh, no.
When he did go to the Super Bowl, he went to the Super Bowl
against his brother,
the Baltimore Ravens, and faced the Baltimore Ravens, who had probably the best defense the world has ever seen, short of the '85 Bears.
Oh yeah, they just took the leather and just whipped them.
And it's just bad because think about Kaepernick, how he was.
Every time he got where he needed to be, he ran into one thing. It was one thing that ended up being his demise in the championship run, and it was like that was the one thing that wasn't going to be denied that year, no matter how good you played. And remember, the Seattle game, that was one play away from San Francisco going and beating up on the Denver Broncos.
That is true.
Instead of Seattle doing it. And I guarantee you, San Francisco would have done the same damn thing.
Well, I think so too. I really do.
So that being the case, Harbaugh was a victim of circumstance in not winning those Super Bowls. I will tell you that. He's going to Michigan. His first year,
Harbaugh was the difference in them winning the Super Bowl, and Harbaugh was the difference in them losing the Super Bowl. You just pick which Harbaugh you want there.
That's very true. That is very true. Jekyll and Hyde.
There you go. Which Harbaugh did you want to pick there?
But look at what he's doing now in Michigan. He doesn't even have a recruiting class on the field. Not one.
But he's
already changed the culture.
Here's the difference, though. College players are not paid. Well, okay, I understand.
Unless they play in the SEC.
I understand. But, I mean, realistically, college players are not paid.
Sure.
Professional players are. College players know you can revoke a scholarship Professional players, you cannot revoke their contract. You have to work through a lot of different avenues to do that. You can.
There is a large element of what you're saying.
Yes,
is very true, except for the fact that when you get to that level, and you have, when you're talking about like 2 or 3 elite players that are making $10s and $20 million, salaries a year, the rest of those players are minimum salary, making the team every year. They're not rocking the boat.
Oh no.
The guy, the 53rd man on the bench that makes $300,000 a year, and he's got to make the team every year.
Yeah.
And he's sweating the final cut
before
the season. He's not rocking the boat.
Oh no.
And he ain't getting on any boat that's rocking.
No, he's not the panda there chewing on the little crunch. He's there like the damn weasel that's going at it. He's going working as hard as he can to make sure that he stays on that team.
Exactly. So I don't and believe me, the whole no player, no professional player that gets paid is going to listen to a hard ass coach. I don't believe that.
No,
I don't believe that at all. Because if that was the case, Bill Parcells would have never made it at all.
But
he would have never made it.
But the difference is that Bill Parcells won. Bill Parcells won Super Bowl.
He didn't turn into a hard ass after he won.
Okay, no, but
he was a hard ass all the way up.
He was, but he won early in his career.
Tom Coughlin, same way.
I know, but they won early in their career, so they had the Super Bowl behind them. Jim Harbaugh didn't win the Super Bowl. Take a look at what was the guy down in Tampa Bay that was the hard ass that didn't last 2 years. No, Gruden, no, you know what I'm talking. The guy came from
Tony
Rutgers.
Dungy.
The guy came from Rutgers.
Oh,
remember? You know who I'm talking
Greg
about.
Schiano.
Yes, he went down. He went down there as a hard ass. He lasted 2 years and he's out. You talk about some of these other guys that were hard asses that came in. They lasted a couple of years unless you win that Super Bowl and you can prove that that's going to win.
But let's look at this. His problem was not with the players. The players loved the hell out of him.
Yeah,
there wasn't a single player on that team that didn't want to play for him.
No,
not Colin Kaepernick.
They all want. They all wanted to play for him. It's like a dog and pony show. You follow it, and they won it.
His disconnect was with the front office, because he wanted to run it his own way,
I agree.
And the front office wanted to run it their own way. Well, guess what? Now Harbaugh's running his own way in Michigan, and they've outscored their last 6 opponents 127-0.
But they have. But if you take a look at
one of those was Northwestern, the number 12 team at the time in the country.
But the thing is, if you take a look also at some of the players, you have some of these players that are retiring early. You have some of these players that talked about the disconnect that Harbaugh had. You
with
talk
the front
about
office.
not even that, but even some of with them. It's almost getting to the point to where, the players sometimes you have to be that, you have to be hard and soft at the same, you have to be somewhere in the middle there. I think, I'd love to have the mentality of Belichick and then pull it in with the genius that I see that McCarthy can bring every now and then. If you could get McCarthy,
and maybe a little of the softness of a Tony Dungy.
Yeah, if you could take those 3 type of things and pull them together, think of what the hell of a type of team you would have.
You'd have Lovie Smith.
Oh wow! No, I don't think that was where I was going with that one.
Yeah, you're probably right. Okay, so look. We'll move this on to where it goes now. Harbaugh in Michigan.
Yes.
All right. They're one very close loss to Utah away from being undefeated right now. That is right. And in total control of the Big Ten. They're going up against Michigan State, which was one of the 2 teams on that side of the Big Ten Conference, which is the Leaders Conference.
I don't know. Why do you break the Big Ten up into divisions?
Because they wanted to have a conference.
I know they did. I know.
All right. So with Ohio State obviously being in serious turmoil right now, not knowing
for Michigan, it's just Ohio. They don't call it state.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
Ohio.
No, they just call it Ohio.
Yeah.
And the other team is the other team from Michigan.
Well, I'm not from Michigan, so anyhow, I'm from the Midwest. So anyhow, so So you have Ohio State not doing what they're supposed to be doing at all. They come out the only unanimous number one ever in preseason rankings. They come out, fall flat on their face.
Yes, they do.
Can't even pick a quarterback.
Nope.
And Michigan State looks like the heir apparent in their side of the conference, and Northwestern on the other side. Michigan just mowed through Northwestern. If they do the same thing to Michigan State, do you crown Michigan as now the current front runner for the Big Ten Conference?
In my eyes, yes. Because Ohio, it's 1 and 1A because you can't crown them over the champion until the champion falls. Now, the champion hasn't played real well, but the champion still has the pieces to do it. Now, am I impressed?
You put Ohio State against Michigan now.
Am I impressed? Am I impressed with Michigan? Right, I am. I've been very impressed. More with their defense than their offense. But I mean, I take a look at what they've done. I mean, they've played one good team, and that was Northwestern. And to be honest with you, I don't consider Northwestern as that good a team.
Oh, I do.
I don't.
I don't either. I mean,
I thought Northwestern going into that game looked very good.
I don't. I
they're
thought
definitely Northwestern
played one good team, and that was Stanford. One good team. They barely won that game, and Stanford played horrible.
Very good team.
Stanford's a very good team, but they played a horrible game, and it had nothing to do with Northwestern. Did you? I watched that game. I actually watched that game. Because it was like the only thing that was on that day, and I was actually off and home. And
I think I read the stat line.
No, I watched it. And the thing is Stanford had control of that game early, and just after the first quarter, they just quit, it seemed like. They didn't do anything. They had the opportunities to do something, but bad passes. Guys open, missing. It was like an early season game that you don't want to play. And that's what it was. An early season away game that Stanford didn't want to play. How Stanford is playing now as compared to when they played there, night and day. It's totally night and day. So, I mean, I really wasn't impressed with Northwestern at all. I mean, I was surprised where they were at. I was surprised where they were ranked. They weren't picked to be that good this year in the Big Ten to begin with. So, I mean, the coaches felt the same way.
So then I go back to my original question.
Okay.
Michigan, they go out and they throttle, not just beat, throttle Michigan State.
Yeah.
Are they the best team now in the Big Ten?
I think that time. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's like.
I mean, I know you're saying them and Ohio State's 1 and 1A. Yeah. So what is Michigan, 1 or 1A?
And that's tough. It's like, I'm going to choose between peanut butter and jelly. Do you want that here or you want that there? I want the idea of having. God,
see, I don't see Ohio State as being interchangeable with Michigan right now. Not right now.
Do you think Michigan will kick their butt?
Right now?
Yeah.
Right now?
Right now.
Absolutely.
I think so
Absolutely.
too.
I think right now. I think right now.
I don't.
Ohio State's kind of lost their identity, though. I mean,
that's exactly it.
Like
that
what
is
you said with their quarterbacks.
I disagree. I disagree with you because I think that there's so much firepower on that Ohio State team. So many athletes and so many different options that they have.
There is, but they got to have a. They got to have stability.
What good is walking into a firefight with an M16 if you don't use it right?
Well, that's and I understand.
There's only one way to use it.
I don't think Michigan has run into a defense that is Ohio State. They have not hit that defense yet.
No, they haven't.
And I think
you're right. They have not.
And they haven't even come close to that.
But regardless of what their offense can do. I don't care who you are. I don't care how good you think you are. If you can go 5 straight games,
I understand,
and not have 5 straight games against all NCAA Division I teams, and you don't allow even so much as a field goal in all 5 of those games.
I mean, that's momentum, baby.
And one of them is a team that's not just nationally ranked, but damn near a top 10 team.
And I understand what you're saying.
I think damning evidence of a very good
Michigan.
team.
I think Michigan is good, and I'm talking. I mean, my son graduated there.
Right.
I
know you're not hating on him.
No,
I
I'm
just
not.
don't. You're definitely not ready to buy into him.
I just don't buy the whole package yet. I don't. Now, if they go in and they throttle Michigan State this week,
right?
Now we'll talk. Now we'll talk about Michigan starting to be that team that will challenge Ohio State, because I do believe that game is in Michigan this year.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, this is. House. I mean, this is some. Then we'll talk. But I don't want to jump on that bandwagon just yet. I mean, I love the wagon. It's loading up. But I'm not ready to jump on. Give me a big win. I don't consider Northwestern. Yes, Northwestern was ranked number 13. Auburn was ranked number 4th. Where the hell is Auburn right now? But Auburn is a hell of now at the beginning of the season. If you took a look at, would you say Auburn or Northwestern?
Neither.
No. At the beginning of the season, if you took a look at those teams, you would have said Auburn was a team that would be a top 5 team. They were predicted to be top 5, maybe a playoff team before the season. They are out of the rankings altogether.
I still had my eyes on one team, and I'm going to lay this before you. Correct me if I'm wrong. Baylor.
You're wrong.
With all their scoring, though. I mean,
I would go
50,
TCU over
60
Baylor.
points a game. I mean, if you want to have dreams of being number 1, you can't go through Ohio State. You're going to have to go through Baylor, because Ohio State's going to lose.
And that could be.
I think it's going to be.
I mean, nowhere, we're talking Michigan, nowhere in the realm of college football was Northwestern thought of as a top 20 team before the season. If you take a look at every single poll that was out there, not one had Northwestern up that high. I think they were picked to finish either 4th or 5th in their division at the beginning.
All right. Well, we are going to talk a little bit more college football. We got to hit a break. We're going to talk a little bit more college football on the other side of it. And speaking of college football, it's going to be Notre Dame, USC, and the big headline going into this game has nothing to do with Notre Dame and USC on the field. That's right after this with Todd Burlage. You're listening to Cheap Seats on XERS Radio.
Option 5, located in Mishawaka, Indiana, specializes in hand-built boutique guitar effects pedals. Option 5 has been producing the highest quality pedals right here in northern Indiana since 2002, and they continue to create original, non-copy designs today. Option 5 is not simply tweaking popular pedals and then slapping their name on them. They're producing groundbreaking effects designed for guitarists of all styles. And Option 5 doesn't just build cool pedals. They provide top-notch repair service as well. Option 5 repairs pedals and PA equipment, can modify and retube amplifiers, and service or repair Hammond organs and Leslie speakers. If you're looking for the highest quality effects pedals and the best in repair and customer service, check out Option 5 in Mishawaka at 1126 East Jefferson. Give them a call at 574-255-6539 or online at option5effects.com. That's option5effects.com. Option 5. Let tone abound.
Hey guys, it's the bartender for Rock Sports Bar and Grill in downtown Mishawaka, Indiana. Football season's upon us, and there's no better place to catch the game than Rock Sports Bar and Grill. Along with the best collection of memorabilia from your favorite sports greats to all the games on our big screens, Rock's has you covered. Our menu features something for everyone. Amazing sandwiches and wraps, and the best burgers around, including the Rockstar Overdose. It's 2 half-pound patties served with bacon, cheddar cheese, piled high with french fries. Make sure you got your cardiologist on speed dial for this one. Find us on Facebook to check out our daily food and drink specials that are sure to be great for your gut and easy on your wallet. We've got you covered in between game days too. Wednesday night is trivia night where you can match wits with your buddies for great prizes. And during football season, tailgate Thursdays featuring dollar dogs, tacos, and fries. And every weekend, Rock features great acoustic music from some of Michiana's finest artists. Come see why there's no better place to get your fan fix than Rock Sports Bar and Grill, located in the Yorktown Center Building in downtown Mishawaka. For those who come to Rocks, we salute you.
Danielle Slav from Cheers Pub here. If you're looking for the best live music in Michiana, Cheers Pub is for you. Established in 1982, Cheers has become a well-known venue featuring local, regional, and national acts. Hard rock, metal, indie, and classic rock music is featured weekly on our newly remodeled stage. We have karaoke on Wednesday nights, drink specials nightly, 4 Horsemen Pizza, and a full menu to curb your appetite. We're open 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. Monday through Saturday. Located at 103 Dixie Way South in Roseland. Cheers Pub, where friends become family.
Hello again, everyone. This is Howard Cosell, speaking of sports.
You are listening to the Cheap Seats.
Who are these guys?
On Twitter at TCSWillisMSP Detterman, Spreaker and iHeartRadio.
Here is Steve and Steve.
Oh my God. They found me. I don't know how, but they found me.
Ah, boy, here we go.
And we are back. You are tuned into the Cheap Seats XERS Radio. Remember, if you missed any of the show, and I don't know how the hell you wouldn't have because we started 20 minutes late, but if you missed any of the show, make sure you check it out on iHeartRadio. Yes, go to iHeartRadio.
And you won't have 20 minits of blank in there. We'll start right from the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. Just search the Cheap Seats on iHeartRadio, and you can check out the Cheap Seats podcast, part of the new line of talk radio on iHeartRadio, Clear Channel Media product. And right here with us tonight,
yes,
breaking down Notre Dame, USC, and all the goings on. And he's going to talk to us a little bit about what in the world jumped the shark, the news story that jumped the shark on this game. We thought we were going to be talking about some Notre Dame football, but we got to first start talking about some administrative things going on in USC. And for that, we got to bring in our resident expert, Todd Burlage. Todd, what's going on over there in California, my man?
I don't know, not too much. I was so excited about the show, I listened to that entire 20 minutes of dead air. It was awesome.
Yeah, I wish
it might have been better. It might have been the best part of the show.
I was going to say, it's the best thing we've done in a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, you missed the 20 minutes of classic radio. I mean, Marconi himself couldn't have done it. But
so yeah, it's an interesting situation. You know, it's sort of funny when I evaluate the Steve Sarkisian. What's going on there, getting fired again after 5 games. We all know that part of the story. You know what's funny to me, though, guys? Why is Pat Hayden, the athletic director, why is he sort of skating along as holier than thou, and nobody's told his feet to the fire here? You guys realize he actually fired Lane Kiffin after 5 games as well in 2013. So this is his 4th head coach in 2 years here. And meanwhile, if you go to his basketball product, a guy he hired by the name of Andy Enfield was 11-21 last year, 12-20 last year, 11-21 the year before. His women's team lost 11 of 20 games last year and finished 500. So it's sort of funny that Pat Hayden can kind of put himself on a throne here and talk about, I'm the man, I'm making all these right decisions. At some point, I think the crap has to roll downhill and fall at his feet here. But absolutely, it's been a mess with the Sarkisian situation, and we wish him well. Obviously he has some personal problems, and there's a lot to work through for him. But at the same time, guys, you know as well as I do that oftentimes when a head coach, when players fall into this situation, it so often galvanizes them and makes them play better, especially in the next game. Guys, let me take you back real quick. You remember, you maybe talked about it, but Ed Orgeron, when he ran Lane Kiffin out of there, when Hayden ran Lane Kiffin out of there in 2013, this guy came in and won 5 of his first 6 games, finished 6-2 for that season in 2013. A lot of the players wanted Hayden to keep him as the coach, but Hayden went in a different direction, went in the Sarkisian direction. here we are. But, you worry a little bit about kind of a rallying point for the players from a Notre Dame standpoint, at least.
Now, going into this game, obviously you have Notre Dame who's looking for a huge win here coming off of the Navy win. They're just trying to kind of stack one on top of the other here, just to kind of focus on the game for a little bit. When I started breaking this game down, one of the things that I had noticed, I had kind of taken from the Georgia Tech game, which was the other team that they played the triple option off of. The very next game they go into, UMass, spread offense, exactly what they're running into here at USC.
Mm-hmm.
Any possible lag going into this game, kind of like what they had coming off of UMass at first until they picked it up and ultimately won?
Oh, yeah, for a variety of reasons. First of all, in Notre Dame's last 8 games coming off the Navy game, they are 2-6. So I think to start there, there's sort of the Navy lag. Let's start with that little nugget, and then we'll go from there. Notre Dame, obviously, if you want to pick apart, they played very well offensively and done an adequate job up front, not a terrific job up front on the defense. But they've been very sketchy. They've given up 12 plays this year, 12 passing plays already of 25 yards or more. And this is the most prolific passing offense they will probably face all year, certainly up to this point. USC with Cody Kessler, which I might add threw 6 touchdowns against Notre Dame last season. They come in with the number 4 most pass-efficient team in the country and the number 17 passing yardage team with 316.8. So this is the best pass attack Notre Dame has faced all year, and they've not done a terrific job against some less than adequate passing attacks. And I think you bring up a great point, Steve. Yeah, UMass, which is a decent passing team, it's the best passing team Notre Dame has faced this year. They did a pretty good number coming off that Georgia Tech game against Notre Dame with a couple big plays, really big plays, and then also threw for 302 yards in that game. And I'll tell you what, guys, from top to bottom, from a roster standpoint, there's not a better team on Notre Dame's schedule than USC. So, yeah, a lot of concerns there in the passing game, and I think you bring up a great point between the Navy lag that they seem to have and just coming off an option team and then trying to find a way to stop a prolific passing team. A lot of challenges there for that Notre Dame secondary. That's to me is the number one storyline, no doubt.
All right, one kink in the armor when I started looking at this USC team is I noticed in the country they're 102nd in the country on third down, converting third downs. How does Notre Dame take advantage of that Saturday?
Well, it's interesting because Notre Dame has been so good on third down conversion, so I guess they just keep doing what they're doing, and there's really not been any rhyme or reason to it because it's not like Notre Dame has done a great job of forcing opponents into third and longs. It's not really been done situationally, but yeah, Notre Dame is definitely, they're top 15 in the country in third down conversion defense. I mean, think about it this way, guys. You know, again, you know as well as I do, Navy is always one of the most efficient third down teams in the country. They're built on that. That's what they do, put themselves in favorable situations. And Notre Dame held them to 2 of 11 last week, and that was a big part of why they were able to end up rolling to a 41-24 win. So I think you just kind of do what you're doing, keep doing what you're doing, and a lot of that for Notre Dame is translated. They've done a good job on first downs. The biggest knock on Notre Dame's defense is they just give up those big chunk plays, and that's what they're going to have to avoid against USC. I think if you just match them up down to down, first, second, third down, it's been very good, better than average, actually some of the best in the country. But I think that's what you have to do is not give up the chunk plays, make USC drive you down the field instead of hitting you with big plays over the top of you. And I don't know. We'll have to find out. I can't say it enough. With the receivers, the talented group of receivers and Cody Kessler, quarterback, that might be easier said than done, no doubt about it. But I think you just have to do what you're doing, keep everything in front of you in this game, And we'll see if Notre Dame's able to do that, because that's really been probably the biggest problematic point in this defense so far.
And I agree with you, Todd. I mean, I think that the Southern Cal has lived on the big play. And that's where you take a look at the low third down efficiency, is because they really haven't had to use that when they've scored. I mean, it hasn't been that they haven't driven the ball consistently all year. My biggest thing I look at this is you've just gone through as a team. You've gone through the trauma basically of losing your coach. This is a guy that they've had for leading them for the last year or so, and now you're going into a game against your biggest rival. How does that play out? I mean, because, this is a team that, you're traveling. It's not going to be the warm weather. Yes, we're going to have some cool weather. It's not going to be snow or anything like that. But now you're going into a hostile situation, and you aren't a team that wants to drive, that can drive the ball, hasn't proven that they can drive the ball. How is that going to play out as far as, with the uncertainty with the coaching staff and everything else that plays with it?
I think, all those questions we'll have to wait and see. I honestly expect the USC players to rally around, because as you watch this week play out, and even some of the players have leaked out that their coach reeked of booze on the sideline, and he didn't seem all there coherently. I just feel like they can kind of put all that aside, and then you add to that coming off the loss to Washington a week ago Thursday. They were a 17-point home favorite in that game. Clay Helton, he's the offensive coordinator, but now he's the interim coach. I don't expect any sort of massive overhauls of the offense or anything they're going to do. They'll stick to what they're doing, but I just really feel like the rivalry situation, everything that's going on, Notre Dame's going to have like 50 recruits at this game. And I'd say probably half of those have USC on their list too. That's another dynamic worth mentioning. And now it's going to be chilly, so that doesn't really play into Notre Dame's advantage there as far as all these recruits. But I just feel like the USC guys, again, this is the most talented roster Notre Dame will face all year. This is an amazing roster with an amazing quarterback, great skilled players. They've struggled in some areas, but at the same time, it's the most talented group Notre Dame will face this year. It's just a matter of mental, Steve. It's just a matter of what they have upstairs, and are they willing to rally around? And I think they will. When you're talking about 5-star recruits across the board, there's a lot of pride there, both with their program and personally. And I know this USC team's going to show up tomorrow. There is no way that these guys are going to lay down for Notre Dame. And I almost think that the Sarkisian situation is actually a disadvantage for Notre Dame more so than it is an advantage for them. I really believe that. Everybody wants to talk about the turmoil that's going on. Oh, this team's in disarray. It's a program. It's not just one guy, one coach. They can survive without Steve Sarkisian coaching them. And I think you're going to see that tomorrow night. Oh,
and I agree with that. But I also think, wasn't it the last time that they did change the coaches? They came up against Notre Dame the next week there too, out in LA, and I believe Notre Dame beat them then. But I want to go to the other side of the ball, and I want to take a look at the reemergence of C.J. Prosise this last week, where he gained over 100 yards. But I think the thing that I like the most is that they're actually using him out of the backfield on passing a little bit more than what they did earlier. And I think this has made this offense even more, I should say, scary to defenses.
You know what? It's amazing, because I was working on a story today about, I was kind of looking at the balance of Notre Dame's offense this year, and a lot of that goes to what you're saying with Prosise now. That's a dual threat player, averaging, whatever it is, 100 and some yards game, both rushing and then another 50 some passing. And I just was curious about looking at the balance. And guys, check this out. Notre Dame, they're averaging 502 yards a game, okay? Amazingly, at this point, if this holds up, it's the second best single game yardage mark in the history of Notre Dame football. You have to go back to Joe Theismann for the only year that's better. I did not expect to see this. And then with the rushing offense getting 238 a game, that's 47% of the offense. Passing offense getting to 265, that's 53% of the offense. I mean, how nicely balanced is that? On top of that, the 37.8 points a game Notre Dame is scoring, that's the best mark in Notre Dame football history. And I was shocked when I started walking through this today to do this story. I just can't believe that it literally is the most prolific offense in Notre Dame history. You know, it kind of slipped through the cracks for me, and I haven't seen a lot written about it. And frankly, the 238 yards of rushing offense is the best since Lou Holtz left in his last year in 88. So it's crazy to think about how good this is. And you're right, it goes to Procise, his ability to do both. And that's really what showed up. Even against Clemson, when he was only held to 50 rushing yards, he caught the long touchdown pass. And you sort of go through the entire unit. And the amazing thing is you're talking about a guy in Deshaun Kaiser, second stringer, Procise, second stringer. Everybody knows about Will Fuller, but it hasn't slowed these guys down. I was shocked to see that this truly is on pace to be the best offense in Notre Dame history.
And that led me to my next question. I mean, you know, if you take a look at this offense and you take a look at Deshaun Kaiser, you take a look at C.J. Procise, you know, these are guys filling in for Malik Zaire, filling in for Terry and Folston. Does this lead us to, you know, taking a look and going, wow, I mean, look at the balance that this team had. Look at the depth. I mean, we talked about the depth on defense, but the depth on offense. And does this set up, you know, next year, the way Deshaun Kaiser is playing, is this something Malik Zaire needs to start worrying about already when he gets to spring ball next year?
There's no doubt about it. Yeah, especially with the strides that Kaiser makes every week. I can't believe how far he's come from just coming in and throwing a miracle pass against Virginia to doing what he's doing. I mean, what is he now? Let me look this up real quick, guys. He is 19th in the country in passing efficiency. And that's the stat to look at. It's never about raw yardage and any of that crap. It's about passing efficiency because that takes into consideration everything, your interceptions, your touchdowns, your third down conversions, the all-encompassing stat. You know, that's, for what it's worth, that's 8 spots ahead of Everett Golson at Florida State. And trust me, Sean Kaiser has played a much tougher schedule up here at Notre Dame than Everett Golson had as at Florida State. It's remarkable what this young man has done. And I absolutely think there's going to be some rumbling that maybe, you know, we'll have to see how this trajectory plays out. But I am amazed at the job and the poise that Deshaun Kaiser shows. And we talked about it last week. When he's in that pocket, there is absolutely no panic, yet he's skilled enough to know when to take off and run. He's a giant dude. He's a big old son of a gun, 6'4", 225, whatever he is. Yeah, he's the real deal. I mean, Notre Dame is loaded with quarterbacks on this team. It's going to be super interesting because I absolutely think John Kaiser is going to play his way into some sort of quarterback competition coming up in the spring and into the fall. I really do.
Yeah, that's,
who would have thought? Who would have seen that coming?
Yeah, it's really interesting that you mentioned that, Todd. And you know, I've been meaning to ask you this all week, buddy. With the whole Sarkisian thing that's been going on, you know, you kind of hit on that a little bit. Do you think that do you think Notre Dame's got a lot to worry about? Do you think they're going to be taking out all their frustrations on Notre Dame, that it's going to be a blowout game, or do you think it's going to be closer?
Oh, no, it'll be a typical rivalry game. I mean, they're not going to, Notre Dame's not going to lay down either, that's for sure. I mean, in their minds, and I don't think the schedule carries enough weight to get into the playoffs under any scenario, although Temple looks pretty good, Pitt looks pretty good. And obviously Stanford's rolling along, so there is some meat still coming up for Notre Dame. But at the same time, no, I mean, I don't. Notre Dame needs to do what it does, but it has to also improve in that defensive backfield because this is the first true test they will get against an excellent passing offense. And as Steve brought up earlier, you're coming off a game against a triple option team, and I liked what he said. And that last time that happened, you came off Georgia Tech and went against UMass, got off to a sluggish start, gave up a ton of passing yardage. So it's a similar scenario, and I really liked that. I thought that was a great point. But no, absolutely, Notre Dame just needs to do what it does offensively. It needs to improve defensively. But as far as moving the football and whatnot, I can't see Notre Dame not being able to score against USC. Nothing suggests to me that all of a sudden USC is going to show up and play this dynamic defense and shut CJ Procise down like Clemson did on the road and whatnot. I really don't, especially in some chilly weather. But it's just, it might be another one of those cliche-sounding turnover games. I mean, look what happened against Clemson. That type of thing. I think it really comes down to the big play. For Notre Dame making some big plays against USC, but more importantly, limiting USC's big plays, because this is a big play team, and Notre Dame has been totally susceptible to big chunk plays. I believe they've given up 12. I think the actual number is 12 passing plays of 25 yards or more this season, and that's just too many. It really is, especially when you're talking about a defensive secondary that we really celebrated is probably, really one of the best units on this team, and it just hasn't played out that way. Tavari Russell has been a colossal disappointment back there, so maybe tomorrow's his night.
All right, Todd, we're going to have to let you go. I want to first get your prediction for this weekend's game. Tell me who you got, Notre Dame, or does USC come in here and take care of business?
Oh, wow. You know what? I haven't done this yet, guys. Let me do it right here. I think it's going to be a bit of a shootout. I really do. But I think Notre Dame wins the shootout. I think it's going to be a heck of a football game, guys. I really do. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm going to take the Irish 38-35. I think this thing's going to get up there tomorrow.
38-35 Notre Dame. You heard it from the algorithm himself.
That is right.
For whatever that's worth, right?
All right, Todd, man, good to talk to you, man. Hope to get you back in studio here before the season's out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, anytime, guys. It's tough. Although the football season's winding down a little bit here, so I don't have to run these high school kids around as much.
There you go.
Yeah, keep me in mind for sure. It'll be a fun game.
Absolutely.
Prime time, USC. Doesn't get much better. So You guys enjoy your weekend. I appreciate the time.
Take care, Todd. Thank you.
Todd. Take care.
All right, and Todd was with us on the hotline. I one of the things that he had said about Pat Hayden, and I actually thought about this the other day, and here's something that I thought would be very telling. A good question, anyway. If USC were undefeated right now, would Steve Sarkisian still have a job?
To be honest with you, I think yes.
What does that say about Pat Hayden?
Well, here's the thing. The only reason, and I agree with Todd totally. Pat Hayden, why is he still there? And I'll tell you why he's still there. Because he let him do a championship. He was a Rhodes Scholar, and he was up for the Heisman. That's it. He is USC history. They got no one else to go to. Not in that position. He brings too much to that plate, but his plate has been broken, chipped, and everything else.
What is that going to do to the next big coach that USC approaches? I mean, seriously.
I agree. I mean,
if you're a big time potential coach and you have an opportunity to go to, to an Ohio State. I mean, not saying at all that Urban Meyer's job is on the line, or to go to a place like Ohio State, or go to a place like Michigan State, or Northwestern, and then USC comes calling, Pat Hayden comes calling. You see the history there with Sarkisian, and before that,
with Lane Kiffin and so forth,
and so on. What do you do? What do you do?
I look at that and it's like, you have to make that decision. Are you going to go are you going to go coach there just because of the tradition? And that's the thing. If you are a USC coach, remember, you're coaching the tradition. The problem is, what I look at is you're actually coaching for Pat Hayden, and that's the problem. I really think the biggest problem that USC has right now is top down, not, yes, Sarkisian, they needed to get that under control. He has a lot of problems in his life, but firing him like they did instead of taking care of him, to me, that's classless. It really is.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I understand he has issues. He's going through a divorce, I do believe. He's had some other issues come up. Take
Not
care of the man.
just the alcohol problem, but other issues.
Take care of him. Put him in rehab. Take care of him and bring him back.
Right.
You don't just drop him.
Give him another opportunity.
I
mean,
agree.
it was
Give
almost
him a
like
leave of absence
what it really reminded me of a lot was Pat Hayden overreacting, kind of like Roger Goodell would overreact. No, I'm serious.
No, I understand.
Goodell has overreacted.
I understand exactly what you're saying. It's
the reason
it's funny because
the reason why I think Pat Hayden would be more apt to overreact is because USC just got out of trouble with the NCAA. The last thing he wants to do is put them in a situation where the NCAA is going to start tossing around the phrase lack of institutional control. And if that happens, USC is back in the doghouse, no championship run, no shot at any bowl games, no shot at any postseason anything. And I think that was the thing that Pat Hayden was definitely wanting to avoid. And in doing so, I think he kind of overreached on this one in dropping Sarkisian completely.
Now, you know what? Remember last week when we were going through the score predictions for the game, who got closest?
I knew he was going to bring that. I was waiting for
41-27, baby.
You know what this reminds me of? Have you ever heard the story about the blind squirrel that finds a nut?
I have.
Yeah, there you go.
You want to ring the bell for him for patting his back? Patting himself on the back. He's going to.
I know. I was thinking about that. I was just like, you're welcome.
The shameless self-promotion bell. Hey,
I've been predicting for 5 different stations, and I predicted that I got the right score that time.
I'm about to shut your mic off.
I was talking about Josh. I wasn't talking about you.
That was a hell of a game, though.
Okay,
it was a hell of a game.
Yes. All right. Well, anyhow, you know what? When we come back, we're going to let you do what you do best, and that's tell us about a little NASCAR. We got one more race before Dega, and we want to talk about that coming up here in just a little bit. You're listening to Cheap Seats on XCRS
Who's
Radio.
got the hall passes?
Tune in Wednesday night at 6 p.m. for Through the Deep Tracks with Bill McDonald.
We want to welcome you back to XCRS Radio Through the Deep Tracks show tonight, and we're traveling down the highway here. Strap on your helmet, board the short bus. It's going to be a rough ride. You're traveling the deep tracks tonight with Mr. Bell. We're in
Through the Deep Tracks.
And I want to wish him a happy birthday. We're going to carry on now with a song from the Rolling Stones, and actually it was this week. And a happy birthday this week. He just turned 62 this week. And we're going to finish out the evening with a track here, the third track from the album.
Wednesday nights at 6, only on the X. XCRSradio.com. Through the Deep Tracks.
Hey, Linda here, host of MDG's All Access Pass. Do you like to rock? I know you do. How about some metal bands? Great, I have exactly what you're looking for. James Rowe from MDG Music Discussion Group and myself have teamed up to bring you local, regional, and national bands, news, reviews, and of course, shenanigans. Join us every Monday night, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern, for MDG's All Access Pass. Only on the X. XCRSradio.com.
Cheap Seats on XCRS Radio, brought to you by Allstate Insurance. Make sure you do like Aaron Rodgers does. Double check.
Yeah, put the belt
do that discount double check. If you double checked your discounts lately, if you call your local State Farm agent, they will do a discount double check for you. The average State Farm customer saves as much as $250 over their competitor. So go call your State Farm agent today. If you happen to be in this area, you can talk to my State Farm agent, Chris Neal.
Or Dean Brown, my agent.
Or you can talk to Dean Brown. Absolutely. But just give him a call.
You can buy a lot of subs with that.
Absolutely.
So as we talked about subs off air, talking about being hungry.
Really good.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, gargantuan, finally.
Yeah. It's funny because we were just talking off air. I casually mentioned to Steve, I said, you know what I had for the first time? The Jimmy John's Gargantuan. And he just looked at me. I swear he looked at me like I just told him I developed cold fusion.
Honest to God, how you've never had until now? You've never had one of those?
No, I told him, I said, I've only eaten Jimmy John's 2 or 3 times in my life.
You gotta rep Jimmy John's, man.
I don't know. It's good, but I don't, I don't live really close.
I like
to a Jimmy John's.
Jimmy John's. I like Jimmy John's. I really do. And the thing is, if I'm going to go there, the Gargantuan is what I'm going to get. It
was very good.
It's very good. Like I said, the only problem I have with
He asked me if I wanted hot peppers. I was like, "Are you kidding me?
Always.
You apparently don't know me."
Always. Just stay away from him. But yes,
the hotter the pepper.
There you go. But the only problem I have with them is that you bite on one end, it comes out the other. So we never had that problem. I said, well, you have what, one bite to eat the whole
3
thing?
bites and it's gone. No, I take small bites.
It's like a steam shovel.
You gotta enjoy it.
It's kind of like a baby swallow. You just open the throat and you drop the food in.
It's just kind of like you watch the old Flintstones where they get the big whoppa, it's gone.
But no, I just didn't realize that was a big deal. Hey, I got news for you. Another one that I've rarely ever had, and apparently it is a huge deal around here, is the Blimpie subs.
I haven't had a Blimpie sub in probably
I haven't had one since elementary school.
I probably saw only 15 years ago.
Now check this out. I have a friend of mine that lives the next county over.
Right.
And he lives not too far from a Blimpie. And I think that's why, because I had mentioned something about, Blimpie subs. I was like, oh, yeah, I didn't even know they were still around. I think I've ate there once. I think there's one right off of the highway.
Because they had some around here and they closed.
Yeah, there was one right off the highway. I don't even know if it's still there. But, he looked at me the same way you looked at me. And he's like, Blimpie, the best sub out? I'm like, really? It's a sandwich, dude. Seriously?
See, the one I want to try, I've never tried, is Penn Station.
Those are actually phenomenal.
That's what I hear. I've not had one yet. I've had Mancino's.
Mancino's grinders.
Check this out. The artichoke sub. That is what you got. That is what you got.
That's what I got to try.
You have to get that from Penn Station subs. The artichoke sub.
I was thinking the Philly. I want the Philly one.
The Philly's very good. They put brown mustard on it, which is amazing.
I love brown mustard.
That.
Yeah.
But the artichoke sub. Definitely. These artichokes, they saute them in butter, then they put mozzarella over them, and I swear you wouldn't even realize that there's no meat on this sub. It is phenomenal. It really is.
Yeah, but my stomach would know. So the mind might not know, but the stomach would know.
Yeah, well,
you got to have that meat.
Well, that's up to you.
Well,
but
now we're talking subs here, Steve. I know you're going.
Where were we?
NASCAR.
I'm hungry now.
Fast forward, shall we?
You know what? It's time. It's time.
Let's wrap this up and go get something to eat.
It's time for us to switch it over to Briggs and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, I think that's what happens. Briggs, you got the con. Let's go.
All right. Well, this weekend we got another hall pass to give out before we go to the dreaded Dega next week. It's the Hollywood Casino 400 at the Kansas Speedway on Sunday at 2:00. We just wrapped up qualifying, and we got some chasers that are in deep trouble, boys. We got Kyle Busch and Matt Kenseth, who had disastrous outings last week at Charlotte. Kenseth hitting the wall, as well as Kyle Busch getting together with Kyle Larson entering pit road. Now, come on. You got to know when to blend, boys. And then also Dale Earnhardt Jr. finding the wall as well, and then Ryan Newman finding the wall. So those 4 guys right now are currently in danger of running for their lives come Talladega next week. So if they don't make it to the top 8, they're eliminated. That's it. Because after Talladega next week, we cut off to the Elite 8, which is the Eliminator round beginning at the Martinsville Speedway the first week in November. But this weekend, it's a whole nother animal. With qualifying, we have Brad Keselowski, Carl Edwards in row number 1, Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick, row number 2, Denny Hamlin and Jeff Gordon in row number 3.
So of those 3 rows, who all's actually still in contention right now?
We got Keselowski, we got Edwards. They're in the top 6. Edwards is 5th, Keselowski is 6th. Kevin Harvick is actually in 2nd after his runner-up finish last week at Charlotte. Kyle Busch is actually in the danger zone. He's in 11th. So he needs to have a solid run this week at Kansas, because otherwise, going to Talladega, the big wreck is inevitable next week. So if you're below 4th place in points, you're going to have to fight like hell to get a win just to get to the next round, because, with the wrecks and just the reputation, I wouldn't want to put my team on the line like that, put my whole season on the line.
Right.
I just want to go for a win at Kansas and just get it over with.
Yeah, get the better showing here in Kansas, and that way you don't have to worry so much about Talladega.
Yeah.
So in the top 6, you actually only have 4 contenders right now for the championship, and 2 not. So there is a very good possibility that we're going to see a lot of these contenders starting this race out front early. And so we should see a couple of really good battles, especially early on here in Kansas.
There's going to be more than one, because thinking back to what happened at the Kansas Speedway in the spring race, Martin Truex Jr. Yes, I'm going to bring this name up again. When he had his 15 top 5 finishes in a row plus the win at Pocono, he led the most laps in this race, but he had a bad pit stop late and finished 3rd. So it's just like, you can't look past Martin Truex Jr. this weekend, and that is why I'm leading him in my Final 4 this weekend. Martin Truex Jr. is going to get his win this weekend. He'll be safe through Talladega, then he can go to Martinsville and play on. And also another one that I want to look for is Carl Edwards. Also, maybe Kyle Busch. But you know what? Kevin Harvick is another one. But I think Harvick most likely is going to finish in the runner-up position again. He's had 14 runner-up finishes this year. So I think he'll finish runner-up this week. He'll be runner-up going into Talladega next week. He should be safe. But I think Truex is going to be the one to get it done this week.
Carl Edwards, always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Yeah, but
but if he's got a backflip.
But Martin Truex Jr., though, I said this at the beginning of the chase, that he would be the Ryan Newman of last year. We all remember what Ryan Newman did. Nobody even expected him to get out of the first round. But what happened? He fought his way all the way to the Final 4 at Homestead, and came within an earshot of beating Kevin Harvick for the championship. Just 1 point.
So what is it about Martin Truex Jr. in Kansas? Is it just, it fits his driving style, or his team likes the track, or what?
Well, with the 1.5 mile package this year, the Furniture Row team, led by Cole Pern at crew chief, they've just had it figured out. Whether it's Charlotte or Atlanta or Texas, they've had the cars capable of winning these races. They've led a lot of laps.
And all the tracks you've mentioned are very similar tracks, too.
Very, very similar.
A lot of the same banks, a lot of the same straightaways.
Chicagoland even. So I can't look past Truex Jr. for having another good run. I mean, after what happened at Kansas, I was frankly really disappointed that they did not close the deal. I really thought that they would have, but they just, I don't know what it was with the pit crew getting beat out by Jimmy Johnson at the very end. But I think this time they're going to have a chip on their shoulder. They're not going to screw up. They're going to look at what they have to shoot for at Homestead with the potential of contending for the Sprint Cup Championship. So I'm giving it to the 78 team this weekend.
So as we move out of here and move into Talladega, if everything falls the way you say, who in Talladega do we really need to watch as far as make or break for them?
Well, it's going to be the same guys like Kyle Busch, Matt Kenseth, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Ryan Newman. However, out of all those four guys, I would rest all my chips on Dale Earnhardt Jr. getting the win at Talladega because, look, 6 wins at Talladega. He won the spring race this year. And if you just think about it, Earnhardt history at Talladega, not just him, but his dad, you'd have to say, hey, Junior's going to be okay, so rest easy, Junior Nation. Your turn's coming next week, so don't you worry.
Now, when you look at a super speedway like a Talladega or a Daytona, teamwork is always a huge, huge deal in any of these races. When you have one teammate that's in contention for the championship and a few other teammates that are not, how important is it for those other teammates that aren't involved in that championship run to get up there and help out their championship bound teammate?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely hit the nail right on the head. I mean, if you're Dale Earnhardt Jr., him and Jimmy Johnson, who is actually out of the chase already, Jimmy Johnson has pledged his services to help Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr., who are still in the chase. However, Jimmy Johnson and Dale Earnhardt Jr., they operate out of the same shop at the 4888. So I think the ideal scenario would be Jimmy Johnson to be pushing Dale Earnhardt Jr. to the win next week. But, with Talladega being such a crapshoot, and with you just don't know, I mean, if you look at what happened in Daytona on the last lap, you just don't know what's going to happen.
Right. Everything. I mean, you could run 499 miles perfect, and then
not everybody's going to make it back.
Yeah, I say that one lap is all it takes.
But that's
that one stumble.
I mean, I think this is why everybody is just so glued to what's going to happen next week, and this is why everybody's wanting to shoot to get that win because. Look at Joey Logano. He won last week at Charlotte. He's going to be okay.
So do you think that because a team like Junior's team would be more apt to win at a Talladega, do you think they kind of lay back here in Kansas, collect a few points, and move on, or do you think that they are going to go ahead and make that push?
I think if I was Junior, just looking at where I am in the points, I'd try to get out then. Because it's not just the plate tracks where he can be good at. I mean, he's had top 3 finishes on these types of tracks this year. I mean, he did, earlier this year at Kansas, he did finish in the 4th position. Excuse me. He did lead. He is capable of running well at these tracks. But, Junior fans, they're going to say it with me, wait till Talladega because I think he can get the job done. So I think it's going to be that's how it's going to go. So, but if you're looking for a fast 4, Martin Truex Jr., Carl Edwards, Kevin Harvick, as well as Kyle Busch. So if you're going to be watching the race this weekend, stay tuned to your local NBC affiliate. Countdown to Green will be at 1:30. So for us, it's on Channel 16 WNDU. So, be ready because it's the calm before the storm next week, boys.
There we go. Good stuff, Josh. Well, I think that's a wrap.
I think
man.
we did great.
We got this. Not bad for as rough a start.
No, I tell you, we covered it all.
Late. Jeez.
Yeah, thanks to you there, Techno Wonder.
Well, I wanted to get us on a little bit later. I told Bill we should be going to 8:30 anyway.
Yes, so you sabotage the show
right,
so we can be there till 8:30.
Someone had to.
Hey, I got a question for you. So Notre Dame and the Cubs are both on at the exact same time.
And so is Michigan State, I believe.
And Michigan State. Yeah. What are you watching?
Sacrificial lamb.
What are you watching?
Who, me?
If I were you, I'd be getting picture.
Go around the table. What are you watching? If you can only watch one. What are you watching?
This is going to be really sad. Which one would I watch? I'd watch the Cubs. What am I going to be watching? I'm actually in a play next week.
That's very true.
And we're getting down to the last week ahead of when we perform. So I will actually be practicing tomorrow, and I will be stop that. I will actually be you are just so childish.
I am.
I will actually be DVDing. I'll actually be recording a couple of them to watch afterwards.
Awesome. And okay. You can only watch one. Which one are you watching?
Well, it's obviously going to be the Cubs. I mean, this is...
And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that this happens so rarely.
Yeah,
it happens so
2003
rarely.
was a long time ago. I mean, I remember nearly puking all over the kitchen table watching the Cubs-Marlins game with the Bartman play because here I had predicted at the beginning of that season that the Cubs were going to play the Yankees in that year. And then all of a sudden the Bartman play happened. I was like, oh, no.
I will tell you this. And only, you guys and the couple thousand people that are listening will ever know this. That after that game, and the Cubs ended up losing the next game to lose the series, I actually welled up. Tears in my eyes.
I did too.
Because I knew
if you were a true Cubs fan,
I was watching an opportunity squander.
I don't know if I welled up. I just sat there in total disbelief.
I mean, I've never cried over somebody else losing a game.
But
ever.
you know what was really neat to watch?
I welled up over that.
It was really neat to watch the other night. Michael Wilbon doing a live shot from Wrigley Field.
I saw that. That was amazing.
He's very confident in this team, and I think everybody should.
He is in Chicago all the time. He reports on everything Chicago: White Sox, Cubs, Bulls, Blackhawks, everybody, and he gets it. He gets what's going on there. I mean, if you want to listen to somebody,
historical proportions.
If you want to listen to somebody about Chicago sports and you want to get the straight scoop, Wilbon. Michael Wilbon. Yep. Yes, absolutely.
You can't beat him. I mean, he
knows his stuff.
Pair him up against Kornheiser any day, it's got to be Wilbon.
I don't know. I enjoy listening
I'm happy
to both
for
those
him.
dudes.
I'm happy for all the Cubs fans who finally should get the chance to have their day, to live in that moment.
Absolutely.
That they've longed for. So
absolutely.
I'm happy for you guys.
Yes, sir. And that's going to do it for us. Remember, you can always check out the Cheap Seats on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com, search The Cheap Seats with Steve. You can always find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all over the place. My Twitter handle is at TCS Willis. You got
at SP Detterman.
For Mr. Detterman.
At JBriggsy _14.
There you go. You can find the show on Instagram at Cheap Seats Willis on Instagram. So
it'll be on Facebook soon too.
So we'll have it. Definitely look for it.
It'll be up within the hour. So if you missed any of the show, just jump on there. Obviously, the podcast broadcast brought to you by Spreaker and iHeartRadio. For Steve Detterman, Josh Briggs, this is Steve Willis. You guys have a good weekend.
See you guys. Have a good night.
Have a good one.
Touch any of my loved ones and get stamped. Staple, remove, soil tested and block approved.